Good, everybody. Welcome back to another stream. Matt here. I got my wife Daisy with me, and
Hello.
we're going to be doing some live reaction videos as well as some current events, updates. Real quick, not going to get too deep into it, but talk about what's going on in the world today. We have, President Trump has given Iran 48 hours to open up the Strait of Hormuz. We'll go ahead and check out this article before we jump into the reactions. Title is Trump gushes over his policies. Thank you, Mr. Tariff, as desperate search continues for U.S. pilot missing in Iran. While he has been active on his social media platform, the president has kept a relatively low profile since reports of the missing U.S. airman broke. Of course, they don't want people knowing about the numbers. A U.S. fighter jet was shot down and they captured the pilot. I mean, let's check out this video. I don't know how many commercials they want to put. Wow. So go ahead and skip the video.
Yeah.
President Donald Trump touted the success of his own policies and complained about the fake news on Truth Social Saturday as a desperate search continues for the missing U.S. pilot shot down in Iran. Oh, looks like our little guy's waking up.
Sorry, guys.
She'll be back. I'll go ahead and cover this. You can come back when you're able to. The littlest guy. Anyway, and complained about the fake news on Truth Social Saturday as a desperate search continues for the missing U.S. pilot shot down in Iran. Trump's tone on Truth Social Saturday morning ranged from fuming about the media and leveling new threats against Iran to jauntily celebrating his trade tariffs among soaring gas prices. Thank you, Mr. Tariff, he crowded in one post. While he has been active on a social media platform, the president has kept a relatively low profile since reports of the missing U.S. airman broke on Friday, and the last time he spoke publicly was late Wednesday in an address to the nation about the war. Not only were the jobs numbers great yesterday, 178,000 new jobs, but the trade deficit was down 55%, the biggest drop in history. Thank you, Mr. Tariff, Trump celebrated in one of the posts. All of this and simultaneously getting rid of a nuclear Iran, MAGA, he added. Seems like more gaslighting, if you ask me. Trump's first post on the day was directed at the New York Times, where he gloated about an error in a headline the day prior that misstated the full name of NATO, which stands for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, as the North American Treaty Organization. The failing New York Times, whose lack of credibility and their constant fake news attacks on your favorite president, me, has caused its circulation to absolutely plummet, referring to our severely weakened and extremely unreliable partner, NATO, as the North American Treaty Organization, Trump said, calling it a very interesting mistake. His slew of Truth Social posts comes as the U.S. is in a race against time to find the pilot of the F-15 before the Iranians do. The president did not address the missing pilot directly in any of his Truth Social posts Saturday morning, but warned Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours or face the consequences. Remember when I gave Iran 10 days to make a deal or open up the Hormuz Strait? Time is running out, 48 hours before all hell will rain down on them, Trump said, appearing to confuse the use of rain with rain. Energy experts warned that any escalations will likely continue to push gas prices up. More escalations like this likely mean oil prices continue heading higher when markets open tomorrow night. Gas buddy analysis Patrick D. Han reacted to Trump's warning on X. We're going to see a dozen states and more push higher gas prices down around midday Monday, especially in price cycling states. Be prepared. Trump told The Independent that he is not yet ready to say what the U.S. will do if Iranian forces get to the downed airmen first. We hope that's not going to happen, the president said in a brief phone call Friday. The downed F-15 is the fourth American fighter aircraft and the sixth military plane lost since Trump started the massive air campaign against Tehran in February 28th. 3 U.S. F-15E Strike Eagle jets were downed by friendly fire over Kuwait in March. An A-10 attack plane was reportedly hit in the Persian Gulf region, and the pilot was rescued after making it to Kuwait airspace, officials said. So, yeah, more escalation. Him saying that, we have more jobs opening up. Doesn't really make sense to me. Let's go ahead and check out Daniel Davis Deep Dive, see what they have to say about
just minutes
topic.
ago, President Trump has reiterated his ultimatum. He writes here literally just minutes ago, remember when I gave Iran 10 days to make a deal or open up the Hormuz Strait? Time is running out, 48 hours before all hell will rain down on them. And then weirdly, glory be to God. I don't know why God's going to be glorified by blowing up somebody in Iran, but nevertheless, that's what he wrote. And listen, if you're unclear on this, let me just kind of give you a real quick recap of what happened. This is on March 26th. This is when he issued the original one. He said, as per Iranian government request, please let this statement serve as a represent that I am pausing the period of energy plant destruction by 10 days to Monday, April 6th, 2026 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Talks are ongoing, and despite erroneous statements to the contrary by fake news media and others, they're going very well. Obviously, there was no truth to that part of it. There were no talks at all, and much less were they going well. Now, this leads to some very disturbing this is disturbing on top of other things that have been going on. For example, yesterday, there was a release of, these days, the tail number of virtually every aircraft in the air, and there's a lot of them, are being shown here. And this is one of the, this is from Flight Radar here, where they track a lot of the military planes, and these are primarily C-5s, C-17 transport planes. And this, along with some other ones, showed that over the last 24 hours or so, there had been a significant spike in numbers of aircraft loaded with something, military aircraft heading to either the Middle East or to some of our European stations, where, of course, many of our operations are being based out of. So there's lots of evidence going on there. There was also a report in the American media just yesterday that there were significant and long-term talks going on in the White House with Pentagon leaders about what to do next. And obviously at the center of that was that a lot of our aircraft had been shot down. In fact, I think we had certainly the most in this war in a single day that had been shot down. And actually, let me just show you that, because this all tails in together here. This is just yesterday. An F-15 was destroyed, shot down. An A-10 Warthog was destroyed. Another A-10 apparently was damaged. The CH-47 was destroyed on the ground. I'll show you that in just a second. An F-16 was damaged, but was able to return to base. Two HH-60, those are Black Hawk helicopters, were damaged and had to return to base. An F-16 Squawk 7700, by the way, that's basically, they had a kind of like a 911 call in space because they got injured or something. It's like a Mayday signal. They were able to return to base. A KC-135 also was attacked, returned to base, and another MQ-9 destroyed. And now then we have all that in one day. And so then if you're talking about doing anything on the ground, and this, by the way, this might be an MQ. It's unclear what this is. It's being claimed that this was an Iranian, one of the Iranians that got one of our ships. I can't tell for sure what that is. It could be one of our drones. I'm not clear, but that's what it's being claimed to being. There's lots of videos floating around there, some real, some not. We can't tell, but what we do know for sure, because it's actually been confirmed in American press, is that a number of our aircraft were hit, which tells us that one of the things that we told you early in this war is apparently turning out to be true. This is something that that I wrote. I think that this was published even before. Yes, you see, this is February 20th. You may recall that I showed you this was the air defense systems that we knew about, but there was the consideration and the concern that these were the ones that were visible that we knew about, but that there were underground bunkers that the Iranians would then, if we came and destroyed in any certain location, then the Iranians would then later on, at a time of their choosing, pull them out and pull up new ones. So when you may be thinking that a certain area has been cleared, they just had the facilities underground, and as soon as whatever they chose the date and time and the purpose, those things would come back out. So now then you get into a situation to where you think a certain corridor has been cleared, and now then you're flying with impunity into it, and all of a sudden it ain't. And that's what it looked like here. So now then you have, and we've been talking about this for a while, there's been the evidence growing that there could be a ground incursion. There was a second squadron of A-10 fighters that were sent, ground attack support helicopter or aircraft, helicopters, Apaches, also close air support for ground troops. From reports I've seen here just last night, there's members of the 82nd Airborne, 10th Mountain Division, elements of the, I think the 18th Airborne Corps has been seen. Certainly the Marines from the 11th and the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, some Army Rangers, the Special Forces, all kinds of ground troop has been going in. More has been deployed or put on deployment orders to show up too, and they're already flowing in. We don't know. Some of those C-5, C-17s could well have been more ground troops going on. I myself had deployed in C-17s in the past, so I know certainly how that part works. So we don't know, but that could be a lot of ground troops that were heading over there as well. And there was reports that, in fact, actually a friend of the show here, Jim Webb, who will probably be on the show next week, by the way, said that he posted on X yesterday. This was last night. I just heard from a source very close to the White House that following today's shoot down of an F-15, an A-10, and successful hits on multiple helicopters and other aircraft, the White House is choosing further escalation. This is yesterday, including U.S. troops on the ground. And he continues on, this would be madness. And obviously, we certainly agree with that too. But now that President Trump has chosen just moments ago to reiterate this statement that he made back on March 26th, that all hell is going to break loose on the 6th. It's not coincidentally probably the day after Easter. I mean, he said, I gave them 10 days to make a deal or open up. They didn't. Time is running out, 48 hours, and all hell will rain down. And the question is going to be, what does that mean? What does it look like? And now, one of the things that, just based on the pieces, and I don't have any insider information to anything that may have been discussed in these conversations, so I'll just tell you that right off the bat. This is just my.
He has the nerve to say, "Glory be to God," President Donald J. Trump, on Easter weekend.
Right.
You know what I mean? The day before Easter Sunday, he has the nerve to continue escalating this war, attacking Iran on behalf of Israel, and has the nerve to say glory be to God while continuing to gaslight, the public.
Right.
It's insane.
And I think it just shows something too, that he doesn't ever say Jesus.
That's a good point. That's true. It's like, what God are you talking about? Because,
right.
My God would not approve of any of this nonsense.
Right.
Analysis based on what we can see and what has been flowing in and what has been publicly claimed. What I think may be going on and what I worry is going on is that President Trump may be thinking, okay, what we've been doing is not working. And so what we're going to have to do is step this up a little bit. You can't just go in on the ground. You can't just go in and take Harga Island. You can't just take some of these other little smaller islands that are in the middle of the strait. That by itself won't do anything. I think that he may say, we've got to do something big, something splashy, and something really, really devastating. All hell breaking loose is the phrase he just used. That doesn't sound like we're going to send in some Marines and try to take an island. It sounds like something more complex. And given that we just lost a lot of aircraft, it's not uncommon for the side that loses those aircraft to say, all right, I'm going to punish you guys for having taken, especially the fact that we still to this day have not retrieved one of our two pilots that were in that F-15 that were taken down. We got one of them, haven't gotten the second one, and there's a big manhunt on. The Iranians have put out a massive reward, a bounty on the guy. So they got civilians everywhere combing the hills. I saw some scenes on from Iranian TV where they show literally farmers and everybody else just scouring the countryside around there looking for this pilot. We're trying to find him as well to try to get him before they do. So that's a big miss. So that's going on the one hand. But now then there's this anger that's certainly among the Air Force and the Army Air Corps, is they may say, okay, you guys are going to pay for what you did. So it could be that we're saying we're going to do something on the ground simultaneous with a big air strike as well, something much bigger than before. And one wonders if President Trump may think, all right, we're going to try another one of those big Moabs, mother of all bombs. You may have heard he dropped that in Afghanistan during his first term. It's just massive, massive conventional bomb. The problem with that, though, is that requires, and I think it's minimum of a B2, B-52 type aircraft, and all it can do is drop it because it's so heavy. It's not a missile. You can't fire it. You have to drop it, which means you have to be over the target, which means you have to have the airspace cleared off. And therein lies another risk that you may be thinking, yeah, we're going to have this massive bomb on who knows what, because it could literally be on anything. He may take it into Tehran and say, okay, well, I mean, just hit a bridge here. Maybe he's going to go to the parliament building or some other symbol of the Iranian power and just literally devastate it and wipe it out. Who knows? But that's something that would be very Trumpian. So in conjunction with what's going on the ground, he may start this other air campaign with maybe long-range missiles, whether JASSMs, Tomahawk cruise missiles, air-launched missiles, and maybe a MOAB somewhere to have all kinds of confusion. At the same time, then they're going to send in troops on whatever the target may have been. And I won't speculate on which because there's too many options, but whatever it is, you would have a lot of air power coming in. You would have A-10s, you would have the Apaches and other kinds of attack aircraft that would start attacking any known or suspected enemy air defense systems. It's called SEAD, Suppress Enemy Air Defense Operation, which would be necessary for any ground operation. And so they would just be hammering the area within tactical range of any of the air defense systems so that helicopters then would have a chance to get in unmolested. That would be the idea. So something really, really big could be coming in. And it seems that President Trump making this statement here, reiterating something of the past. This doesn't feel like it's going to be one of those where, you know, he has the old taco thing that they talk about where it was like some of the others. Remember, he had a 48-hour deadline, and then he had a 5-day deadline, and then he had a 10-day deadline. None of those happened. He kept it before the thing was over. He kept making new announcements. This one, though, he's dusted off one of the old announcements and bring it out. And very specifically, again, mentions April 6th, which is Monday. And of course, don't hold him to the time clock on that. That'd be Monday night our time, which would be Tuesday morning in the region. I guess it could happen. It would seem kind of silly to literally telegraph exactly when an attack is coming, but who knows what's going to happen. I doubt he'll do something tonight our time, because then that would be Easter. And I think that a lot of people are going to say, hey, you know, let's don't ruin the holiday. So let's wait till afterwards. And I would imagine that there'll be a lot of praying going on among our forces at that time. And I doubt seriously we would do that. So I think like Sunday night, our time, Monday morning, local time, any time from that time forward is going to be a danger zone. So I'm very concerned about it because, and I mentioned that issue about the potential drop for a MOAB, which Joe Kent mentioned to me in a text here long is something that he said that could be what the dropping holy hell could mean on top of them. I'm considered a little bit worried about that because this is published by here Laura Rosen talking about a former pilot, James Fallows, on U.S. military aircraft over Iran. So much is going wrong so catastrophically on so many fronts that it's hard to find a point of traction. Now, it just doesn't seem like it would be a rational thing to do the day after you suffer the biggest one-day loss of aircraft in the war so far, implying that the Iranians may have some new type of aircraft, anti-aircraft capabilities. There's some passive IR kinds of things, which apparently are hard for us to intercept. And that's, at least reportedly, what's led to these aircraft being knocked down. So if you have discovered that the enemy may have some new way to take your aircraft out that you're not prepared to defend against right now, or that you don't even understand fully, it wouldn't seem like a really good idea, like within 48 hours later, to launch a massive air assault that you could be flying even more aircraft into the ground and getting more shot down. And you think you're going to be running a MOAB somewhere. If that's the case, you have a relatively slow moving big aircraft that is a big target that, of course, everyone will be looking for. You can just take it to the bank that either and or the Russians and Chinese will be watching the airspace, and they will be signaling everything to the Iranian side. So if that's the case, they'll know it's coming and they'll have a pretty good idea where it's headed based on its trajectory. And they'll be vectoring any kind of air defense they can. And just imagine, as bad as this one was right there with the F-15 and the A-10 getting taken down and the Blackhawks getting hit and the KC-135 getting wounded. If you knock down a B-52 or B-2 bomber, and that thing doesn't hit the target, and then it does crash, and of course you would have this massive explosion on the ground, not just the loss of the people. I mean, that would really have the exact opposite effect as what the president was hoping. Instead of having this big bomb dropped on them that would bomb them back into the Stone Age. That's another reason why I think this Moab might be something in the offing here, because he used that phrase, bomb them back into the Stone Age. Well, just a regular, bombs that we've been dropping, whether it's a Tomahawk or whatever, they blow up, but nothing's going to bomb anybody to the Stone Age. So that implies that he's going to do something either massively with some of these conventional weapons, or that he's going to have a Moab and get that big bomb back to the Stone Age explosion, because it is just a massive thing. It's not an exaggeration. So one worries that President Trump may do that, and of course it's going to be at risk getting shot down unless we are really sure that wherever the target is someplace that we have very high confidence that we can keep it safe, because failure there would have a high cost indeed. And in fact, I mentioned here about the loss of the aircraft we've already had. These are some of the ones that were, again, just from yesterday. There was also, in addition to the H-860, that's Blackhawks that were wounded, we also had a CH-47, one of the aircraft that would be necessary to ferry any troops to any ground operations, should we try to do that. You can get about between 20 to 24 combat-loaded troops inside one of these. This was hit by a drone on the tarmac. And yet again, you have this issue that we can't seem to keep our folks safe here. That's a big problem. Now, I want to go to some of the other issues here of the day here. One of the things that President Trump has said in his, wasn't State of the Union, in that address to the nation on Wednesday, was that we had completely obliterated all their air defense capabilities, all of them, he said. Well, that's not the first time he said that. As a matter of fact, on March 11th, he said this.
They are pretty much at the end of the line. Doesn't mean we're going to end it immediately, but they've got no Navy, they've got no Air Force, they've got no anti-air traffic, anything. They have no systems of control. We're just riding free range over that country. And now we're going to look very strongly at the Straits. The Straits are in great shape. We've knocked out all of their boats. They have some missiles, but not very many. I think we're in very good shape.
Yeah, they have some missiles, but not very many, and we have free reign over. You saw Secretary Hegseth say that a bunch of time with that kind of quirky arm signal. We have free reign. We'll just hover over, and of course we're losing all the MQ-9s even up to that point, and now we're losing lots of other stuff. Not quite the free reign, and of course all of that can't help but just undercut the credibility of the President of the United States, of the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, because they keep making these claims that you can spin things all day long on a post or in front of a television camera, but you can't spin away the physical capability where our aircraft, operating on the assumption that what you said is true, are getting shot down like what you're seeing on the screen right there. And now that we see more and more of those happen. Some of them got hit but didn't get taken out of the sky, but they had to limp back to base, which means that the skies are most definitely not open. So where do we go from here? Well, listen, the problem is also in what we are targeting, what we are hitting, because the idea is President Trump, you see his frustration building, that he is frustrated that all of this death and destruction he's been raining down on all these targets we've attacked, all these ships that we've blown up, airplanes that we've blown up on their tarmacs on their side here, has not caused them to capitulate, which is what he wanted. He wanted the assassination of the Ayatollah to knock them out of the war right at the beginning. He wanted a nice, quick, clean, easy victory that he could tout and move on from there, look like a big war hero. That didn't happen. So then he says, all right, we'll just have this relentless bombing campaign, and that'll cause him to do it. Well, that didn't either. Well, now then, since Wednesday, he's upped the ante again. And so he started attacking civilian targets. You saw that bridge in Tehran that we showed you yesterday, but they're also expanding to universities.
They belong to the Stone Age for attacking institutions of science. A civilized country, a civilized government, never targets institutions of knowledge, laboratories, or research centers. During the 12-Day War, they first assassinated our professors. But they saw that assassinating professors did not achieve their goals. Now they have begun targeting and destroying scientific infrastructure. I have said before that destroying buildings does not destroy the structure of science in Iran. The structure of science in Iran is rooted deep in history. They will certainly become disappointed and will fail in this objective. Scientific development in Iran will not stop. Iran's scientific capacity is limitless. It depends on its students, on Iranian talent, and on Iranian creativity and intelligence, which are inexhaustible.
Now, the selection of targets is as important as the effects that they're intended to create. On the one hand, you want a military target to have degrade their capacity to resist, so they can't fight, knocking out an air defense system, for example. Or you want it to have a morale effect, that the taking of a certain thing out will dampen their will to fight and to make them more interested in giving up. If you select the wrong targets, however, you could accelerate their capacity, and especially, and that's in wartime, in many respects more important than the physical, is the emotional and the psychological. And if you steal their resolve and make them more likely to resist, then you, even if the bomb hits its target and blows up and takes something away, it has actually added something to the other side and demeaned our side. And all of the psychological aspects of war are not limited to the battlefield or even to the direct participants themselves, but to the wider audience that's sitting around looking at this from a distance.
Yeah. It's not looking good.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the way that I assume the Israeli government views other nations is very otherly because of what they believe religiously, is that everyone else is less than and otherly.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like in this war, they're very, it's even the way Trump is trying to is speaking about Iran is very like they're less than, and I think that having that kind of mindset and then making like war moves isn't really in anyone's favor because of what he just said at the end there. It's very psychological. It's if you do these things, the people are going to revolt in a way that is maybe not beneficial to the other side.
Absolutely. Israel has no regard for human life.
Right, exactly.
You've seen what they've done to Palestinians, for the past 100 years.
I mean, even the way that they look at Americans.
Absolutely.
To do their dirty work
Yeah.
is very otherly. They're others,
Yeah.
So.
And that's the main problem with Zionists or Jewish supremacy that more people are starting to become aware of.
Right.
It's not even that they just see them as less than and that they believe that they're not capable of fighting this battle, the Iranians. It's that the Israeli, Zionists who have control over the American politicians and the American government, and in that case, the American military, are willing to have as many American soldiers killed for their benefit.
Right. There's no regard to all those fighter jets that have been taken down.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, let's just send in some more.
Yeah, and they're attacking schools, as you see.
Right.
And they don't care about the repercussions of what might come back to Americans.
Right.
So,
they're not worried that they're committing war crimes because to them they clearly feel righteous to do so.
Yeah.
Because they're and I guess they're kind of hoping that the American people are also through decades now of looking at the Middle East like it's
demonized.
Right, exactly. They're just hoping that the American people are all going to be on board, but we're not.
Right. Absolutely not. The majority of Americans don't want any involvement in this war.
Right.
Middle East again. Does Israel play in this?
Israel was created as the instrument to bring about the Battle of Armageddon and the fulfillment of prophecy, a war that will be so terrible, where nuclear weapons will be used, so that the American citizens and the other people in the world will get down on their knees and beg for no more war. And what is the answer to that? They're going to be told the only way we can guarantee no more war is if we destroy the sovereignty of nations and we come together as one humanity and government.
Right.
Now, I'm telling you, unless the American people wake up and stop it, starting in about 1996, the Battle of Armageddon will become a reality.
He laid out the blueprint for everything we're seeing today. He knew why it had to happen, he knew who was behind the curtain, and he knew what we should expect next.
Read the book of Revelations, whether you believe in the book or not, read it, because the men who are bringing this about are using it as their script.
This interview was recorded in 1992, and as you listen, you'll understand why his blueprint still matters today. Because he said it would all unfold exactly like this, down to the smallest detail of the script.
And I get people who still come to me all the time and say, Bill, you're all wrong, it's the Jews. The Jews are subverting the world. Man, it's not the Jews, it's not the Catholics, it's not the blacks. It's these men who belong to the ancient mystery schools, who meet in secret and decide the fate of the world. And they belong to all different races and all different nationalities and all different religions to the public point of view. But in secret, it's a different story.
He claimed the fate of billions rest in the hands of a small group of people.
Yeah, it's clearly not just the Jews, as we've seen, Shabbos Goys partaking and all these people selling out to them. Unfortunately, they are the tip of the spear. And, as we just spoke about, Jewish supremacy, Zionism, seems to be the leading cause of a lot of this conflict. So that's Bill Cooper. He wrote a book, Behold the Pale Horse. Behold a Pale Horse, and he's been speaking out on this for a while. He predicted his own death, among other things.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, his book, Behold the Pale Horse, was required reading for me at 11 years old. Thanks, Dad. I miss you. R.I.P. Bill Cooper. It's easier to deceive the masses than to convince the masses they have been deceived.
And their strategy,
Yeah.
he said, is simple. Keep us watching the circus so we never look behind the curtain.
At the highest levels of all countries, they all belong to the same club. And we, the people, sit back and we watch this grand drama, which is being played out for our benefit, not theirs. If it wasn't for us, they wouldn't even have to do any of this. But you see, they just can't come out and destroy all of us because they need slaves. They need people to make their shoes and make their cars and mine the ore. They need worker bees, and that's what we are.
His name is Bill Cooper, and what you're about to hear is his warning to the world. He believed that if you don't spare the time to hear this message to the end, if you don't make the effort to understand it and finally wake up, then you're participating in the great deception just as much as they are. His words, not mine.
George Orwell was just like me. He was a low-level member of British intelligence who was appointed to a position high enough where he saw the same documents that I saw. And he tried to warn the world just like I'm trying to warn the world, only he wasn't willing to take the risk that I'm willing to take. So he wrote it in a book called 1984 and spelled out exactly what's coming as a warning to the people of the world, as a work of fiction. But you notice that that work of fiction really stirred people up because they knew that it wasn't fiction. In their heart of hearts, everyone who's read that book knows that it's coming.
Here's what Orwell understood. Control doesn't happen overnight. First you distract, then you divide, then you rewrite the rules so people don't even know they're being controlled. 1984 showed us the final destination. A world where nothing is true and everything is permitted except for those in power. For decades, that was just fiction. But now, more and more of the pieces are fitting together. The scenarios that were once ridiculed are beginning to look like the morning news.
Why is it that you are here today, or how is it that you are here today and you're not, conveniently taken away and put in a padded cell somewhere so that you can't speak of these things?
I can tell you this. I began to reveal information in 1976, and I was physically attacked on 2 occasions. My skull was caved in. That's what all these scars are here. On the second attack, I lost my leg. They visited me in the hospital. They had no intention of killing me. They were delivering a message to me. Shut up. And that was the message that came through loud and clear. And 2 men who identified themselves with identification cards who belonged to the Defense Investigative Service, which is really the Defense Intelligence Agency, asked me if I was going to shut up or they were going to have to do it right. And I told them, I said, you don't have to worry about me. I'm going to be a good little boy for the rest of my life, and yeah, I'm going to shut my mouth. And I did for 16 years. Kept silent until I saw this.
You can talk conspiracies all day and people will just ridicule you, call you paranoid. But when you start talking about what you're not supposed to, that's when they come after you. At least that's what Bill said in the full interview. But now, he's starting to say things that really make you pause. Look at the pattern. Why does every piece connect? If it's all just coincidence, why does it keep happening? Listen to this.
Either these men are following the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is in the Bible. They're either following it, just like a plan, and bringing the prophecies in there to pass to manipulate and control those who believe in those prophecies and neutralize them, so to speak. In other words, if this is written in the Bible and God has ordained it, who am I to resist? It must come to pass, so I'm not gonna try to stop it.
Okay.
What a perfect way to neutralize the opposition right off the bat. Or there really is a God, and what he said was going to come to pass is coming to pass. And I named this, Behold a Pale Horse, from chapter 13 of the book of Revelations. The fourth horseman of the apocalypse is the pale horse. And I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with the beasts of the earth.
Now, look at the 4 horsemen. Revelation 6 describes white, red, black, and pale. The Greek word for pale is chloros, greenish, the color of death. Some point to the red horse, war, as already writing. The black horse comes next. Famine, collapse. The verse describes inflated prices, scarcity. Some suggest it could be approaching. Revelation 13 describes a world where no one can buy or sell without a mark. Today, central bank digital currencies are rolling out globally. Is it the mark? No one can say. But the technology described? It's being built. Whether you believe it or not, some in power clearly do. Commanders quote Revelation, leaders invoke scripture. Bill Cooper said they're following a script. Look at the pattern.
Doesn't Whole Foods have something like that already?
Yeah. Read your palm.
That's crazy. It reads your palm?
I'm pretty sure it's like you put your hand over it.
You have to like sign up for it first then, right?
Assume so,
and like take a
yeah.
picture of your palm so it could recognize it or something?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never used it, so
Me either.
I don't
I just always see it whenever
Yeah.
we've gone in there.
me too. I've seen people do it, but I haven't
Yeah.
looked into it.
Something is lining up.
Everything that's in my book, Behold a Pale Horse, is everything in here, all the documents that are in here, everything that's in this book is in the public domain.
Can be substantiated.
Yes, and I intentionally wrote this book not using anything that wasn't available to the public to show people that, yes, if I can find this information, so can you. I have tons of stuff that's not available to the public. But as you can see by reading this book, you don't need that stuff because it's what you need is available to you. Public libraries are overflowing with the proof of what's really going on in the world. but nobody really utilizes it to the extent that they're able to pick this out and put it together. Another thing I've done for people is I've put it together for them so that they can see the overall picture rather than looking at small things and thinking that it's isolated. Nothing is isolated. It's all part of a big puzzle.
Why is it that we can hear something this important and still forget it by tomorrow? Maybe we don't want to believe. Maybe we're scared. But I think it's something else. We're numb. Life grinds us down. Work, stress, the endless scroll, it all adds up. And then we turn on the news, hoping to understand. But instead we get noise, distortion, confusion. And that numbness, it becomes a habit, a survival mechanism. But what if that's exactly what some are counting on?
All the media in this country, radio, television, and print, is all owned by 5 corporations. All of these corporations that own the media are owned and controlled, and members of the Council on Foreign Relations sit on their board of directors. But you can trace that yourself.
Okay.
Remember, if you go down and you trace the ownership of a station or a newspaper, and you get to a corporation, remember that somebody owns that corporation, and it's usually another corporation. But when you trace the interlocking of all these things, when you get to the top, there's 5. And all journalists know that there's some things you don't write about and you don't talk about because you'll lose your job. And that's where the control is.
Let's try it, shall we?
Mind you,
Pick
this
a
is
news
30
network,
years ago
any
he's talking
network.
about this.
Right.
Let's start with CNN. On your phone, type, who owns CNN?
Can you imagine
You'll
if he
see
was
it's
still here
owned by
today?
Warner Brothers Discovery. Good.
So
Now
evident.
type, who owns Warner Brothers Discovery? In 2026, that's changing. Warner Brothers Discovery just signed a deal to be acquired by Paramount for over $110 billion. Now type, who owns Paramount? Paramount was bought last year by Skydance Media, and Skydance Media is led by David Ellison. Now type, who is David Ellison? He's the son of Larry Ellison, founder of Oracle, one of the richest men in the world. But keep going. Who runs CBS News? CBS is owned by Paramount, and the editor-in-chief of CBS News? Barry Weiss. She was appointed after the Skydance acquisition.
Now, Larry Ellison, Barry Weiss. I mean, let's just look it up real quick. Yes. Okay, so there's one of the 5. What was it, Weiss?
Yeah, very wise.
There's 2 of the 5. I know he said it's not them, but there's 2 of the 5.
Here's the thing. Cooper said all media is owned by 5 corporations. That was decades ago. Today, the names change, but the past.
And much of history has been hijacked by these people, you know, who claim to be Jews but are not, as the Bible says.
Right.
And as we know, with the creation of Israel and those who claim to be the chosen people hiding behind the scriptures, it's kind of their whole MO, you know? It's like, you know, how they've convinced everybody that Christianity is like, you know, sensical. It's ridiculous.
Pattern doesn't. You start
It's
with a news
it's their
network,
strategy.
you end with a billionaire.
Right.
And that billionaire, always connected to power. Try it yourself. Pick any network, any platform. Follow the chain, see where it ends.
Yeah.
You might be surprised how fast you get to the same place. Let's continue, because this next part is about us.
Just noticing patterns here.
That's why they pay athletes these fantastic salaries. I was listening to the radio the other day. They just contracted to pay one player on one team $6 million a year. Can you believe this?
And why is that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive, and when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor? He sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated, so they don't ever question the emperor. That's why they pay a player on a football team or a baseball team $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year.
It's outrageous.
It is the Roman
Huge
circus.
contracts.
I know men who don't know anything in the world except who plays third base for the Mets. And they think that's a great accomplishment. And they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy that plays third base for the Mets did in last night's game. It's sad. It's really sad.
Right.
Juvenal, the Roman poet, said it almost 2,000 years ago. The people who once handed out military commands, high offices, everything, now restrains itself and anxiously hopes for just two things: bread and circuses. Bread and circuses. Today, the bread is your paycheck. The circus is the game. And while we're glued to the screen cheering for millionaires we've never met, the real decisions are being made somewhere else, by people we'll never see. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. History shows that a society obsessed with entertainment often becomes easier to control. As long as we're watching, we're not asking. As long as we're cheering, we're not challenging. And as long as we're numb, they stay in power.
But let me tell you something.
Music's
When
creeping me out.
150
Yeah.
of the most powerful men and women in the world can meet in secret in Baden-Baden, Germany, and plot the fate of billions, and nobody even cares about it. But 6 football players go to lunch together, and it's in the headlines across the country. You have a reflection of the society in which that exists. And it is a sick society that is doomed to self-destruction.
So based on that scenario, there's some truth into what these men are looking at.
Absolutely, and that's what makes me so sick, is that I'm trying to wake up a people who on a daily basis are proving the ones that I'm warning them about to be right.
Be honest. When was the last Davos meeting? And what exactly was proposed there? Most of us couldn't answer that, because we don't care. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Netflix, we have our own lives, bills, work, relationships. Who has time to track what
I guess
150 powerful
a
people
question
discuss in a
I
Swiss
would
mountain
ask
town?
though is, like, if these people need their slaves, right? Then why are we headed to destruction?
The next distraction.
Like, what are they gonna do if they don't?
Well, they believe they only need a certain number of slaves, basically, and they're trying to make this a one-world government and make us dependent on them, and take the mark of the beast. Also, they practice ritual sacrifices, which is why there's so many innocent,
Lives lost.
Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly what Cooper was talking about. While we're busy living our lives, decisions that affect our future are being made elsewhere. And most of us are simply too distracted to notice.
And they want to take away our freedoms. They're trying to destroy America because America is the last roadblock to them
Right.
achieving their goals.
The right track is don't believe anybody. Don't believe me. Don't believe George Bush. Don't believe anyone.
Sam Dave Smith, sorry man, we're just kind of deep into this presentation here, but I see your questions asking us what is our favorite time period in history. I would say the ancient Vedic civilizations 5,000 plus years ago. Many different times. But that's the one that stands out most to me, is the most interesting. What's your take on the world? And I guess the Jays, it's a crazy world we're living in, and we're all trying to, get through it. No, dude, in Hate Lost, the plot grows right. Right about what? Wait, what the fuck could you say? Name some civilization 5,000 years ago. I just did. The ancient Vedic civilizations. India, Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma.
You got to go out and you got to get proof in your hand before you can believe anything. And to do otherwise today is the biggest mistake that anyone can ever make. You begin believing people, putting your trust in them, that they're telling you the truth. I guarantee you, you're going to take a ride on a roller coaster you don't want to be on.
Do your own research. Don't jump in the comments and ask, so what do we do now? I'm telling you, use your mind. Because even these videos, they're not here to feed you conspiracy theories. They're here to engage you, to wake something up. Critical thinking is the point. It's better to put your mind to work than to wait for information to be handed to you. Because what if all the information out there is wrong? What then? We have to go back to the roots, back to what we know is good, what we know is wrong. That inner compass, it's still there. We just stopped using it.
Now, do these people recognize the continuity of life? In other words, you have told me earlier that they're after physical immortality.
They believe that through their technology, man will become God. With the power of reason, through technology, man will himself become God. They will engineer, just like he wanted to do, the super race who will live forever. And the concept is the same, and the men behind it are the same as was.
Bill said more than 30 years ago that they would reach for immortality through technology. Back then, it probably sounded absurd. But now, look at what's happening. Neuralink has successfully implanted brain chips in multiple patients. One man used it to play chess just by thinking.
That like makes me sick.
Scientists
about
at Harvard and MIT are working on age
like
reversal
humans being
technologies.
immortal.
Clinical trials are underway for drugs that could add decades to human life. The CEO of OpenAI said recently that we might achieve human-level AI within a few years. And after that, merging human intelligence with machines is the next logical step. Whether you believe that or not, it's hard to ignore that we're moving in that direction faster than anyone predicted.
No matter what your religion is or what you think, they are following the scenario in the book of Revelations to a T, right down to the last little bit. If you want to know what's going to happen in the future, if we don't wake up, and through the power of those, see, not one drop of blood ever has to be spilled, and no one has to ever put any chains on their legs or their arms, ever. If people just wake up and exercise what was given to us in our Constitution, the power of the vote, while we still have that power.
So you say there is still a possibility for like one individual watching this tape to actually make a difference.
You better believe it.
How
Yes.
would that be so?
Well, number one, learn what the truth really is. Get away from the fantasy that you've been living. Educate other people, those you know, your family.
Yeah. I don't know if this guy lost the plot. She's asked the right questions. Oh,
Well, he kind of answered.
if they want us as slaves, why decrease population? He responded with they, like human sacrifice. When was the guy recorded in plaids? Sounds like he thinks shit is about to hit the fan, like in the 1990s.
No,
Yeah.
he's just predicting the future.
Yeah, this was in the 1990s. And kind of what he's talking about, you know, learning the truth is what I'm talking about as far as learning about the ancient Vedic civilizations 5,000 years ago. That's where that ties in. And if you don't know who Bill Cooper is, I'm shocked, being that you're someone interested in history, because he laid it out long ago, before a lot of people today. What about, how far in the future? What about them is the truth?
Well, number one, learn what the truth really is. Get away from the fantasy that you've been living.
Yeah, there's no idea
Educate other people, those you know, your family.
about the Vedas.
Once that begins to happen, it
Sucks.
spreads. And then if the
A lot of people
people
don't.
decide that they don't want what they have,
Do you only know 2,000 years of history? It gets a lot deeper. Check it out. The Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana. Check it out. Sanatana Dharma, real Hinduism, not this Western atheistic nonsense.
I think that him being at the end though, like saying like any like one person watching this, like you can be the change. I think that that is what people need to believe, because it's really disheartening to like see all this.
Yeah,
Know that
it's easy
there's
to get
these people
blackpilled.
up here that are like making all these decisions,
Yeah.
knowing like, oh, you're part of the slave, whatever, and then being like not feeling helpless, which is why so many people tune into baseball, basketball, whatever,
Yeah,
watch the circus, because
comfortably numb.
I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
they feel powerless.
and then it's just it is kind of like ugh, when he's like, you know, you have these rights, you have what's written in these amendments,
Yeah.
you can vote, and it's like, well, can you though?
Yeah, well, we got to take our power back.
Right,
Take our
which
country
is
back.
kind of like he's
Yeah.
saying like not one drop of blood has to be shed, but I mean,
Yeah,
not
No,
saying that I want that.
I
but
don't
I'm just
agree with
saying-
everything that he says. I think he was very accurate with a lot of his predictions, and a lot of the stuff that he says is
right,
true.
Right, mind
but I
you,
don't-
this is 30 years ago too.
Yeah,
So
I think he would be shocked, and I'm sure he would acknowledge the way that the state of Israel is being used, as the title in this actually said, to usher in a lot of this stuff that he was saying was going to happen.
right,
and
right.
They specifically have hijacked our country. It's not like it's not a coincidence that all these people happen to be Jays. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Like there is some has to do with like a bloodline, that traces back to this people who, for whatever reason, have gone against Christ and natural order for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Right.
Have in store for us planned. Just through the power of the vote, they can make this country and the world whatever they want it to be. Whatever they want it to be.
No, I don't have
And there are no
Discord.
limits on that, except to understand that you can never make everything all right, and you can never make everything all bad.
Yeah, we watch the big sports games the same way Romans watch chariot races. Yeah, he's made that point in the beginning. Bread and circus, right? Want to give me an example, or do I need to leave? An example of what?
I think he
Specify.
wasn't here when we were talking about that.
Here, you like history? Why are there so many J's in banking? One answer is right. One is the loophole. Why are there so many J's in banking? Because the Rothschilds came into power and spread all over the world so they can have control over all the different parts of the globe.
Both must exist.
Because if you control
Which then, if you look up which countries don't have centralized banking, it's every country that
yeah,
we're trying to attach right now.
Jews were in banking before the Rothschild. How do you explain that? Well, they didn't have an international hold on humanity like they do now. They may have been in banking, but they didn't have such a grip on humanity as they do now, because they've accumulated so much power. It wasn't until the early 1900s that they were able to infiltrate America and control our money here. What do you think is the point of central banking? To control the populations all over the world, like I just said.
You must maintain a balance.
If you stayed until now, you're probably one of those who's awake, or at least you're willing to be. And that comes with a responsibility. Be responsible with your mind. Use critical thinking. Bill said it himself. Don't believe him. Don't believe us. Believe what you can prove, what you can verify. But you have to do the work. You have to research. You have to stay awake, because if you stay awake, others around you might wake up too. And that's how things change. Now, Bill has a final message for us. So, whoever has ears to hear, let them hear.
By abdicating responsibility, by not walking in that divine state of grace, makes possible anyone meeting behind closed doors to bring about the world that they want. And the world that they want may not be the world that you want. or that I want, or that these people watching might want.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't participate, you can't complain. If you don't help cook the meal, you got no right to bitch about it. You got to sit down and eat what's put on your plate.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like that, then you should have been in the kitchen helping to prepare the meal, helping to plan it, helping to prepare it, helping to serve it. If you want to sit on your butt in the living room while somebody else prepares the meal for you and decides what it's going to be and puts it on the table, it's too late to say that's not what you wanted to eat.
Mm-hmm.
It's too late to say it's not cooked the way you wanted it to cook.
Well, that's very simple to understand. And
That's right. You got to eat it because you have to eat to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that anybody can understand the meaning behind that little story.
Yeah. Very interesting. I think what he's saying at the end there is we have to get involved also in politics, which is so important, like at a local level. And why I'm confident that the millennial generation, as we talked about yesterday,
Right.
is waking up to certain things and will be coming into power and, you know, has the potential to achieve those goals and take our country back. Let's see. Same day Smiths. See, that's what I mean by losing the plot and being brain rotted. The point of central bank is to be able to control your future currency without getting it too overinflate. If you give the control to the direct government, end up inflating it and producing too much currency because that's in their self-interest. The central bank is separated from that, so the control of the inflation. What, dude? Nah, man. And value the currency as a separate entity. So you're saying we need these overlords to control our nation's currencies to keep it from ruin? Like, that's ridiculous, bro. Look at what the painter did in Germany when he kicked the Rothschilds out and started his own, economy.
Yeah, it started to thrive.
Value of currency is a separate entity. Can you think of an example of a country that did not have central bank that did not end up having hyperinflation? Yeah, Germany in 1930, bro. Inflation when they started using flat currency. I have to start splitting up my messages because if they're too long, they end up, there's no way for me to call you. I'm sorry, what happened in Germany? Which time period are you talking about? It as a successful example. The 1930s, bro, when they expelled the Jews and the bankers and started their own economy, basically became the strongest nation that the world had ever seen in that generation. I mean, and why do you think so many other leaders have been taken out when they try to start their own banking system and break away from the central banks? There was a far more successful example. They're building debt. There was a far from a successful example. What? They're building debt and they made a fake currency to replace the debt they owed after World War I. They didn't owe the debt. That's the whole reason they broke away from it. They never wanted they never wanted to have to pay the reparations in the first place. Nazi Germany was approaching that anyway, which is why they had to start invading other countries to produce assets. I don't think so, dude. I think you have a very clear, like, it seems like you've only learned one side of the story of history, and that you think that they were trying to take over the world or something, and that they needed to invade other countries to produce the assets, which wasn't the case. There were many peace talks in which, it was denied by Britain, for example, who was being controlled by the central banks. Could look further into that.
I guess this kind of transitions into this video that I was gonna play for you.
Yeah.
Feeding us information that makes us distrust authority.
I don't know how to restart it.
I find it very fishy that suddenly we're allowed to talk about.
One last point on that whole, like, you're saying that it wasn't successful approaching that anyway, which had to start the choice about how much Germany paid was not due to England. It was due to the cost of France had, and specifically the loss that they had during the Prussian War. Even if you
I'll be right
follow the
back.
own financial advisor to the Nazi Party, he's making the exact same claim. It just made that this is what they had to do to pay off the debts. Well, that's why when the painter came into power, they refused to pay off the debts entirely because they never agreed with surrendering in the first place. They never agreed with, what was claimed that they owed. So, because they weren't responsible for starting the war as they had been accused of. So, I don't know how deep you want to get with it, but they don't want to pay the debts off. I agree, but they still owe the debt because that is what the international world has assigned them after they lost. Yeah, and that's why they broke away from it and expelled, the bankers from Germany. And you're saying it wasn't successful, but look at what happened when they came into power. They went from the Weimar Republic when people barely had enough money to buy food, life savings, barely buying them a piece of bread, 50,000 prostitutes. Germany had become the red light district of the world. Similar to what's going on in America, unfortunately. The country had been ran into the ground, and they came back thriving. Said he wants to talk to you right now. He also lives on Rumble. So, yeah, check it out. There's a lot of history on that you can look deeper into, learn the other side of the story. I guess we'll continue on to this video.
What is being sprayed in the skies without it being taken down as misinformation? Talk about the potential of all of our politicians being bought out by a foreign country without it being taken down or flagged.
They weren't thriving. He found a loophole in which they could use another currency. You try to pay off debts in the name of another currency that was already hyperinflated, but they still ended up needing to pay off the debts, which is why they need to do those assets again by their own administrator. The reason go after the Jays was the hope that they could take the money from no. Germans one is to remove the Jays from society because if they were lesser people that they thought they were necessarily controlling everything. They saw them as controlling the banks, which again is pretty Rothschild. And again, the origins of that, which you didn't even answer, is because it comes from the times of Crusades. First of all, he didn't go after the Jays to start with. He noticed the pattern throughout history. He was well read. There's a reason they were expelled hundreds of times before, the 1930s. He didn't have just a random personal vendetta against them. He wasn't filled with hate. He just saw the direction his country was being taken in. And Judea actually declared war on Germany first. And he saw the writing on the wall that Germany was, being threatened by communism, which, he saw the Ukraine famine, the Holodomor, which killed, over 10 million people in Ukraine, and he was trying to keep that from spreading into Germany. There's like too much to go over on that. Like, I'm not trying to have a debate of, the Holocaust and fucking the Jews and the Germans. I mean, I can do that on a whole nother video if we want to do a deep dive into that. Interesting what you're saying about the Crusades, though, and banking. Can't really speak on that as much. That's farther back. They saw them as controlling the banks, which again is pretty. Comes Crusade when the people church would not allow Catholic banks to offer loans with interest. That made it harder for those banks to make money and offer loans, building a culture that you had to pay late. Any fee can be made for the bank. Sorry, I'm not sure what you meant by that paragraph. Doesn't really make sense. But I know, there's a reason that the Jays don't charge each other interest. Or going to Muslims now. If you're going to be fighting the Muslims in the Crusades, they made your credit worse, and monarchs needed that money, which started in the third party group, the Jays, to be a perfect group in between where they could charge interest, which made them a stable form of currency for loans where they can make money and made sense for them to loan money out and also not go into war with them. I agree that's way too much. That's why I keep asking if this way could just call in instead of trying to do this in voice chat, which I can't even hear you when I speak. The Jays don't charge each other's interests because they see themselves as brothers, and by Jays you mean a very specific set of Jews, not the common Jews that were associated today, like charging your brother when you give him money. Very interesting. Yeah, I think a call-in would be sick. We kind of need to set that up, though. We haven't set that up yet. A number for people to just call in. We did in a previous podcast before that kind of was more about the Jays and all this whole topic, but you know, I really appreciate your input, and all I can say is, like, stay tuned. The podcast is growing. I got my wife with me today. We were just kind of gonna react to different videos. We did a little update on the Iran war, and kind of went off into some other shit with Bill Cooper that, you know, I try not to get too serious with her, because we got a baby, and she just has other things to worry about, which, you know, she doesn't need to focus her energy on this. But I'd be totally glad to go deeper into this stuff and bounce off books and, you know, our literature off of each other, and history, and you know, congrats on the baby. Me too. How old is yours? Appreciate that. Thank you. And we've got just under a year. It's about 5 months right now, so half a year. I meant
6
just under
months,
half a year.
almost.
So, yeah, almost half
Time's
a year.
flying. I'm sure you know.
Yeah. So I really appreciate your input. At first, I wasn't sure how you were trying to come at me questioning, but you know, thanks for being here.
Yeah, sleeping's quite the battle.
Yes, the sleep
Speaking of
deprivation is
battles.
real. Yeah.
Oh wow, you got a fresh one.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Congrats to you as well.
Yeah, I might have to actually go in a second.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting fussy, starting to wake up.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
So we didn't have time to do reactions to her videos because she started we started getting into the whole, you know,
Oh, do you want to end
history topic. No, you
Okay,
can go ahead.
I
It
just-
looks like he's falling back asleep. I was gonna say I could wait for you. I can keep going on this topic and then we can get back to this. We'll see.
Da-da-da-da.
Staying up currently, waiting for the next
Feeding window.
Right on, brother.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Cool.
But yeah, I guess the whole, like, what agenda are they leading to, or like talking about the mark of the beast and blah 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 and all this stuff. This
The
is
one
what,
world government, the new world order,
right?
which
And
the Austrian painter wasn't for that. I wouldn't agree.
I just don't think it's moral to, like, put everyone in this, like, controlled group. Like, we're God's children. I don't think God would want that for us.
Yeah.
On, like, just a moral stance. I don't think, you know.
Yeah. He says, my questions are, I like history and I like other people like history, but sometimes people use the term of history buff and I fear what they actually mean by it. It strikes me that you've fallen into a very specific anti-Semitic view of the world, so don't get me wrong. There's bad people in every group, but you're assigned too much to one group. Washing painter. I think you meant to say Austrian painter was a fucking psycho. Hey, man. He was well read, and he knew what he was up against. In my opinion, he was too fucking nice. So if you want to call him a fucking psycho, I'd say he was way too fucking nice. And if you want to compare him to other, vicious or great leaders throughout history, I think he was a great man that was trying to be moral, and he gave them fair warning to get out of his country. He wasn't the first one. I don't know how many times previously they've been expelled. People say 109, but there's over 1,000 documented times throughout history that this particular group of people have been expelled, and it's because they consider themselves the chosen people, and they have demonic practices within their religions, as stated in the Talmud. I don't know if you're familiar with the Talmud, but it's not that I have a what is it, specific anti-Semitic view. It's just kind of hard not to notice, as Bill Cooper mentioned, that these 5 companies, these major corporations who have such a stronghold on our government, on our entertainment, on so many aspects of our society, all happen to be of this tribe. So if pointing that out makes me an anti-Semite, then so be it. You know, and back to the Austrian painter, he did a lot of great things for his people. He was, you know, one of the first animal rights activists, you know, and among other things, the man was far too nice. You know, when he came into power and was loved by his people for good reason. You can't say the same about the leaders of today, as much as they try to gaslight the people. You know, it's all bullshit, and I think he was trying to warn us about what's happening today, and I think he was a great man. But he wasn't well read. If he was well read, he would have understood the depths of the origins things. He assigned himself to the Aryan race, which was not Nordic, like you thought Aryan as your own state would have been Hindu in actuality. I'm trying to understand that paragraph. He wasn't well read, would have understood the depths of the origin things. He assigned himself to the Aryan race, which was not Nordic, like you thought Aryan as your own state would have been Hindu in action. What? I'm not really clear on what you're trying to state there. They spent way too much money trying to go find the Holy Grail and a bunch of mythological bullshit because they were not well read, and they were not scientific as much as they love to pretend that they were. Even if they are all part of a tribe, it should be noted of what tribe focused on. Like, again, when we focus and care about culture is important. Bro, you got to give me one thing at a time to respond to. You know, back to Aryan history and them not being Nordic, I think you need to look deeper into that, because, you know, I don't know if you believe in Atlantis, like we need to come to an understanding of your knowledge and what you believe and where your information stems from and mine, you know, because my understanding may be different. I don't claim to be some history buff, but I have read enough and you know, do know a good amount of you know, ancient history, specifically, you know, the Aryans and whatnot. And I do believe Hitler was well read and did care for his people and preserving his people, not that he was trying to act, you know, claim that they were scientific or all this. I think he was on the right path, sending people into the Himalayas to study the origins of his peoples. And, you know, I do believe that the Aryans were Hindu, if that's what you want to call it. I would call it, you know, similar to what the ancient Vedas spirituality is. Sorry, this thing's moving. I can't even keep up with it. It's culture is higher. Okay, that's that saying that he wasn't well read. I think he was well read. I think he was a great man. They spent way too much money trying to go find the Holy Grail and a bunch of, yeah. Again, I disagree with you there. I think he was on the right path and using the swastika, which is an ancient, you know, symbol. Yeah, regardless, bro, they're all Jays. Just like the Eastine files say, like, you know, they favor their own. And if you're not of that, then, you know, you're less than to them. And of course, you probably think Hitler was just some hateful, you know, white supremacist, all this shit. No, bro, he's trying to preserve his people and honor his history and his ancestors. They're all part of the tribe. It should be a very specific culture with higher value when it comes to either reading or... Bro, I can't keep up with the fucking chat because it keeps shooting up. You're sending me long-ass paragraphs here. But I appreciate it. For example, a lot of people say the Jays control Hollywood. It should be important to know that in America, the only jobs Jays were allowed to have was in theater. So then when television becomes It keeps fucking jumping up before I can finish reading it. Give me a second to finish reading this paragraph, bro. Theater, so then when television becomes a thing, all of a sudden there's so many J's in Hollywood. Why is it they're trying to control the media and the culture? That must be it, not because of the precursors prior to that we sent them in. It's not just that they hold these positions, it's a lot of the evil shit that goes on behind the scenes and the agenda that's being pushed by them in order to, you know, benefit them. Sorry, Texas speech.
I think he meant text to speech. He's doing text to speech.
Oh, okay.
That's why there's so
because
many.
I can't type as fast to keep up with anything you actually say. Sorry for the typos that my phone produces. With okay, no worries, man. I understand.
Text to speech.
it's nothing personal. Sorry, do you believe in Atlantis? Yes, I do. I'm sorry that I'm also jumping, but every time I get off text speech and I hear you say something and then I have to respond to what you just said, no worries. Should be noted that in the Orient very specifically are missing a very specific word prior to that as the Indo-Aryan. It's a tribe from the Indo Valley and then migrated back to Europe and mingle with all the Europeans that were there prior. Do you even set forth the cultures that we didn't call Western today? Again, I think that may be a text speech typo there. Tribe from the Indo Valley and then migrated back to Europe and mingle with all the Europeans that were there prior. I agreed the Indo-Orient were agreed not by religion because Hinduism was not matching with the time bar we were talking about, even pre the Vedas. If he was in the right path, I was trying to find the holy ground on the holy things, and why did they not find any of them? And wouldn't it have been better for him to spend his money aiming for his main goal? Okay, if the Easton files focused on all the changes, and how can you explain Bill Clinton and Donald Trump being in them? Only recently had Trump gained a J in his family line, although he was banging minor prior to the fact. Again, text speech is so making longer paragraphs because I'm literally speaking. So again, sorry. You wanna?
I was just gonna say, like, I don't think that he's saying like, oh, it's always every time, like saying Bill Clinton and Donald Trump are in them. Like, we know that, and we know that they're not Jays.
Yeah.
And we know that there's still corrupt people in every race and religion, whatever that they are. Who knows, you know?
Yeah.
But it is still a fact that a lot of the time they are Jays.
Oh, yeah.
And they do have an agenda. But there are also, like, plenty of other people that are clearly corrupt that are, you know, up there.
Yeah. I mean, and, you know, a lot of these Jays are satanic, right? The Talmud is very despicable. And, you know, the whole Sabbatean Frankist movement, you know, redemption through sin, the things that they do to influence the masses. So they use these Shabbos goys, right, who hold power to use their power and influence for the benefit of this group of people, which happen to be Jays, you know, predominantly. And, you know, there's going to be, you know, as the Talmud says, even the best of the Gentiles must be killed. And to them, the best of the Gentiles are the Shabbos goys doing their dirty work, you know, and they've gained, you know, leverage over a lot of these people in these high-ranking positions, these Shabbos goys, by using blackmail and threats against them, you know. So.
And even in the Bible, though, it says, like, what is it, Revelations something? Those who say they are Jews but are not.
Yeah. That's why in Israel, a lot of those Jays aren't allowed to get blood tests, because if they did, it would prove that they have no ties to the land. They're not a Semitic people.
Right. Which I think you said previously to Dave Smith, that it's not your everyday average Jew. And, like, I think there's, like, a lot of Jews that aren't connected to any of this craziness. I mean, I do think that some of their texts are questionable. Like you said, the Talmud, there's a lot of questionable stuff in there.
Oh, absolutely. I don't just hate all Jays. I'm not like this anti-Semitic, hateful person. You know, notice patterns, and I think it's despicable what their Talmud teaches. And anyone who agrees with that or claims to be the chosen people, I'm just very suspicious of them and wouldn't put any trust in them, and don't believe that they should be able to have positions in power in our government, especially when they have dual citizenship, right? And, you know, again, like a lot of their teachings are about deception and trying to deceive the people and keep things hidden and deny things, right? So it's like, how can you possibly trust these people if they're practicing Judaism or, you know, believe in the Talmud?
And if they didn't have some sort of agenda, I know I'm saying they, but if they didn't have some sort of agenda, like, why would AIPAC exist?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Or why are there so many people with dual citizenship in the government?
Right. Yeah, and
then you look at what's happening in Iran. Like, you look what's happening at this war. It's like, clearly...
And what they've done to Palestine, we've witnessed firsthand how evil these people can be, and it's horrible. So, you know, there's that. I think it's good to read, and I think it's good to be critical, but the important part of being critical is acknowledging when you're reading something that is good or trash. The thing about the Talmud is specifically talking about war and not considering whether those who fight against you are good or bad. I don't know what you mean by that. Do you have anything to say on that?
I don't fully understand either. I think it's good to read, and I think it's good to be critical. The important part about being critical is
that is good or trash. Yeah, and the Talmud is trash in my opinion. I don't know if are you trying to make an argument against that? Okay, look, I'm Italian Catholic in America. Salute. There are many Italian funds in which I am. So family members will put forth to fund Italy. There are people in Hispanic communities will send money back to their homes just because some groups are extra successful to send money in this sense. AIPAC is that. Nah, bro. AIPAC has way too much influence over our government. It's supposed to be illegal. They're supposed to register as a foreign entity. What is it? I think it's like FARA or something. Yeah, which, you know, a lot of people believe that's why JFK was assassinated. In 1962-1963, the JFK administration, led by Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy, pressured the American Zionist Council, predecessor to AIPAC, to register under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA, due to secret funding from the Israeli government. The DOJ demanded registration, but this effort ceased after JFK's 1963 assassination, and no registration was finalized. And like, you know, family members back and forth to Italy. Again, I mean, and I don't really agree with that. I think, you know, America is in trillions of dollars of debt, so I don't really think it's a good thing to be able to send money out of the country.
I just think it's sad how much money does leave the country when there's destruction happening here. There's, like, our infrastructure sucks. There's people that are homeless everywhere.
Yeah.
There's missing children. Like, I think there's a lot of things that we should focus on other than sending money.
And you say there are people wearing Hispanics, communities will send money back to their homes just because some groups are extra successful to send money back in the sense AIPAC. Is that, I don't think that's right, that people can come here legally, take advantage of the system, not pay taxes in many cases, reap tons of benefits, Social Security, EBT, and whatnot, and send money back to their country where they're able to buy land. Also, they come here and they lower the wages. They basically use as slave labor, which I don't really blame the people coming here for trying to, you know, make a better life. But, you know, I do also blame the corporations who hire them and take advantage of them for slave labor. And, you know, me being an electrician and being a blue-collar American-born worker with no ties to any other country, it kind of seems like there's not as much value in being blue collar nowadays, because it's been, you know, the wages have been ruined because of illegals who come here, and it's kind of looked at as not as what's the word I'm looking for, like, not as lucrative, I guess. It's
or you're getting the short end of the stick when you should be getting the first pick, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Americans, you know, it used to be a good thing to be a blue collar worker, you know, with 10 years of experience. Used to be a good, used to make a good living doing that. But now when you have to compete with these illegals who are willing to do it for dirt cheap, it's you know, not as lucrative, not as easy to support your family. But you know, I don't blame this one group of people for coming over here seeking a better life, but I don't think it's right that they're able to send money back to their countries while they take advantage of this country here, while so many people in this country suffer and we don't have a way out. And as far as the Jays, a lot of them come here with dual citizenship and have no allegiance to the country. That's another problem I see in that, as well as the other, you know, other nationalities, the other immigrants and illegal immigrants that come here, is they have no allegiance to the country. When, you know, I believe it's written in the Constitution, you're supposed to pledge allegiance to America. You're supposed to at least attempt to assimilate, right? And there's not a lot of that going on, especially, you know, in the J communities as well. A lot of them have no allegiance to America. If you ask a lot of them, who would they support in a war? It's Israel. You know what I mean? Not to mention they've been using our soldiers to fight their battles for the past, you know, 30 years, probably more so, and have not been held accountable for, you know, the U.S. Liberty attack, their involvement in 9/11, and so many other things. Now that dragging us into this Iran war, I believe they're more of an enemy to us than Iran is, if you want to get into that, and who we should allow here to benefit off of our system and whatnot. They're not supposed to register because they're U.S. citizens sending money into a fund. They have to register. They are foreign entities sending money. As your citizen or a J or Jew sending money does not need to register that money. No, bro. I mean, when you have this much influence over politics, as a pro-Israel lobby, you need to have some checks and balance. Sorry, America is $1 trillion in debt. So are you saying I don't have the right to use my own money? Do you think every U.S. citizen should be at 100% taxation so we could cover the U.S. debt? No, absolutely not. I think, you know, similar to what the Austrian painter did, if we made it illegal to, you know, benefit off of banks, we'd bring an end to that. We wouldn't need to send billions of dollars overseas to Israel. We wouldn't need to have military bases all over the world. I think so much spending is just, you know, it just doesn't make sense. Just curious, do you believe in capitalism? They're not coming here with dual citizenship. They're here and they have U.S. citizenship, but Israel will tie anyone with any connection to Judaism to gain citizenship in Israel. That's their ability to sign that in a different way that we signed our citizenship laws. Not even touching on 9/11. That is so rotted. It's unbelievable that I just heard that, bro. Like here we are again, where it's like, you know, you just, I don't know, man. I feel like that meme. Like, you gotta look into it. You gotta look into it. Like, what am I, fucking Eddie Bravo over here? It's like, you know, man. Okay, they had no involvement. You know, Larry Silverstein just got a, you know, however many $billion insurance settlement after, you know, finalizing that weeks before. He just magically
happened to have that doctor's appointment.
Yeah, happened to have that doctor's appointment that day. All these J's and those group chats happened to be notified that something was going to happen and not to show up to work that day. Those dancing Israelis just happened to be partying and having a good time with fucking, you know, while documenting the Twin Towers, and they just happened to be allowed to flee back to Israel and happen to have ties to the Mossad, and the, you know, urban moving systems just happened to be completely empty when they investigated it. Come on, man. The U.S. Liberty just happened to get bombed. They were just in the wrong place. Like, you know, these Jays are just really smart. You know, they're just really good at investing. There's no insider trading going on whatsoever. Jay, you know, Easting was just a fucking business mogul, and all these people like to party with him for whatever reason. You know, Trump just happened to fucking pardon, you know, hundreds of, you know, felons who'd been convicted of these, what do you call it? What type of crimes? When it's like all fucking, I can't think of the term right now, when it's all like money involved, certain type of crime. But it's like, bro, I think, and labeling me an anti-Semite, as we've heard, as you did earlier, it's kind of like, bro, I don't know if it's worth getting into these conversations when you're meeting me at this level of understanding from my, point of view. No, bro. I mean, oh my God. I mean, is it inconceivable to think that they wouldn't sacrifice some of their own? Like, look at the Hannibal Directive, bro. Do you know about the Hannibal Directive? Or do you think October 6th was a fucking, one-sided attack? Do you not believe that Hamas has been funded by the Jays, as was ISIS? Do you believe that there were weapons of mass destruction and that we went in there under, not false pretense? Make the claim. Let's see. By the way, also enjoy this. I think you're very interesting. I'm not even touching on 9/11. They're so rotted. Bro, what is it? Is it, I think it's Loose Change? Loose Change? That's not the one I'm thinking about. There's another one. The guy was on Jake Shields' podcast. He did the documentary. I mean, I could make some calls and I could get some people on this live stream who'd be glad to debate this. This is their whole fucking life, is having these discussions.
Well, we could set it up for your next.
But yeah, we should definitely set that up. Like I said, stay tuned. But let me just try to keep up with what you're saying here.
You're right here.
By the way, I also enjoy this. I think you're very interesting. I would love to be able to talk to you. And as an American to an American, I love you, and you have your your free right to speak. Oh, lost it again. But that was fucking stupid. What? Pointing out that they were involved in 9/11, bro? Okay. Does it make U.S. stronger if we have military bases all around the world? Does it make us weaker for not having it? What percentage of the budget is military based versus social services based? That's a good question. I mean, we could look into that. But again, when you're trillions of dollars in debt, like, is it money that we even have in the first place when we could be, redirecting it for the greater good? And by that, I don't mean social services. I just mean getting out of that debt, and instead of policing the world, maybe actually helping other countries. And instead of having stupid fucking like research programs and these basically just money laundering schemes for politicians. Like what did Fauci, he had like a certain amount of money going towards fucking like giving some type of animals like cocaine and like seeing their reaction or some shit. Like there's so much stupid shit. There's so much waste in government spending, and by no means am I saying that our politicians have our best interest at heart right now, which is why I believe we need to take our country back, and which is also why I believe the Austrian painter was such a great man, because he was a leader that his people could count on to actually have their best interest at heart, and he embodied it. He lived it. He was a war hero after World War I. As I said, he's far too nice. I'd be on some fucking Vlad the Impaler type shit, to be honest, if I was him, and I think that's what we need now. But we'll see what happens. Does the U.S. make stronger military budget? I'm more of a non-interventionist, right? Like Ron Paul, the Ron Paul revolution. I wish he would have came into power. The soldiers were getting behind them. They even said back in 2001, shortly after 9/11, when they were getting dragged into the Iraq war, that they didn't want to die for Israel. Yet, we lost so many soldiers in that. 22 soldiers commit suicide every single day because our government has been hijacked and has been fighting wars for the betterment of Israel and not so much America. The military bases, they're not benefiting Americans, right? All over the Middle East. Like, who's really using our military? It's Israel. And why are we policing the world? It's not for America. It's for Israel. You know, why did we invade all those countries? Because they are a threat to Israel, not so much to America. Like, you must really believe that Osama bin Laden hijacked the planes. Like, you want to talk about 9/11, bro? Like, are you serious? It's 2026, dude, and you're still on that shit. Put the insurance policy because there's a bomb threat, like literally a couple years prior, so he insured the building. Yeah, but he didn't get that until a couple weeks before the attack. Not to mention they cleared out a lot of the building, and people were able to go in there, plant explosives. You really think 2 planes brought down those buildings? What about building number 7? You know what I mean? That just happened to collapse. You think it collapsed from the weight of the debris? Like, come on, man. So again, are you going to make the claim that 0 Jews died? No, bro. Again, look up the Hannibal Directive. These people are sick. Like, they allowed a lot of people to be stuck in Germany and get put in work camps, which eventually they died from starvation and other, natural diseases. And that was because Germany was fighting against fucking almost the entire world, who was being funded by the Rothschilds, not to mention. So again, you're going to make a claim. So don't get me wrong, this is inside training, but you're looking at the wrong people. Trump literally informed his people that he was going to increase tariffs, decrease tariffs in specific industries, and cut it. But it seems like you're more annoyed. Some J groups and some hidden kebab that you don't have any proof to, versus I do have proof. There is a lot of proof, bro. You don't have any proof to, versus something so blatantly and in front of you of having in real time. Like what? I mean, I'm not a big fucking politician fan, bro. New boss, same owners. That's what I say. I'm not on here trying to defend our government. I'm not in here defending Trump. Like, unfortunately, I voted for him because it was the lesser of 2 evils. I voted for the guy who had more policies I agreed with than the other candidate. I voted for the person who was trying to keep men out of women's sports. What'd you pull up?
Isn't that one of these guys, the guy that made that documentary about 9/11?
Yeah, he's the one. He's the one hosting it, narrating it. I believe it was Jonathan. I don't remember exactly which one.
Okay.
And
I just knew it was one of those guys.
The name of I can't think of it. Missing Links. That's what the documentary is called. Check it out. Missing Links. If you want to learn more about 9/11 and the whole J's involvement in it, and among other attacks, check out Missing Links. Sorry, I'm still trying to keep up. Inside training, proof having real time. Also, if you like Austrian Painter, I think, man, then you probably love the concept insider training, because the government taking over companies to be influenced by the government is what he was doing. Yeah, he was National Socialist, but he wasn't a communist. He wasn't taking away people's right to work, and he wasn't assigning them jobs. It was more of a national capitalist with a cap on how much you can hoard, basically, without giving back. And he did cut off certain types of industries, as in the 25-point program. You could look further into that. But I'll give you an example. The first obligation of every citizen must be to work, either mentally or physically. The activities of the individual must not conflict with the interest of the general public, but must be carried out within the framework of the whole and for the benefit of all. We therefore demand abolition of work-free and effortless income, breaking of interest slavery, In consideration of the monstrous sacrifice of life and property that each war demands of the people, personal enrichment due to war must be regarded as a crime against the people. Therefore, we demand ruthless confiscation of all war profits. We demand nationalization of all businesses which have been up to the present formed into companies, trusts. We demand that the profits of large companies shall be shared out. We demand an expansion on a large scale of old age welfare. We demand the creation of a healthy middle class and its conservation, immediate communalization of the great warehouses and their being leased at low cost to small firms. The utmost consideration of all small firms in contrast with the state, county, or municipality. Yeah. So, yeah, there's that. Let's go. Sorry, we've had the other screen in the background. We can be more, get a better view of us here. How are you enjoying this? Just sitting.
It's interesting. Here. I like seeing the points of view, the discussion.
Happy to hear that you at least acknowledge died.
I think you meant right, maybe, because you acknowledged that Jews did die, or acknowledged Jews died, maybe. Jays died. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think you meant I'm.
and have you responded to anything I said about the Hannibal Directive, or the recent discoveries that Bibi Netanyahu was funding these terrorist organizations at the tune of, I think it was $33 million a week?
He said it out.
Okay. You said it out?
Yeah, he said, sorry, I lied, date and time for the debate, kids waking up.
For sure. I mean, I'm not really trying to,
Meet me here at 3 p.m.
Yeah. it's more of a conversation. I would love to have you on, a live stream. We can have more of a conversation. I can have more people join us as well who are more versed in this stuff. It's not, I'm not like a big history buff. I'm kind of more like on the spiritual side of things, and but I mean, unfortunately, I have gone down these rabbit holes, and I can't agree with you, saying that they're like not having anything to do with 9/11, and again, call me an anti-Semite when I'm just kind of noticing patterns here, as we see, but there's that. And I don't think you also acknowledge the USS Liberty, but what is your best proof that you have to do with 9/11? Again, check out missing links, bro. There's tons. My best proof is like, the dancing Israelis, Larry Silverstein, the celebration that a lot of Jays had after this whole thing. They're,
That video of him being interviewed is so creepy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's should we play it for him? I'm gonna play that one just for you, bro.
That's just me being.
I mean, and again, the Talmud, dude. Like, these people, I mean, I can't get behind it. I don't believe in freedom of religion to where we are allowed Satanists to fucking run free and control our fucking government. I think there needs to be a fucking, amendment to the Constitution and something added in there where we don't allow this shit. I don't agree with what's been going on.
Listen up, men. Ditch the blue pill.
Yeah,
this stuff works way better. Trust.
So, let me catch up on this. Damn, bro, you going off with the voice text for sure. Give me time and date. I'm also missed this section. Do you believe in capitalism? I believe in national capitalism. I don't believe in this global Jewish capitalism. I don't think it's right that we've gotten rid of so many jobs in our country and sent it overseas and are using other countries' population as slave labor. I don't believe in, I don't believe in people making such huge profits and not paying their employees, but that's the heart of capitalism, right? As I said earlier, I think there need to be more checks on certain things like that. I believe that the founding fathers formed this country at a time when things were much different, and it was supposed to be a predominantly Christian society, and I believe we've been hijacked. I do believe everyone should have the right to follow their own passions. I'm not for communism in any way, shape, or form. And as far as a debate, I have a good friend who I'm going to be starting up a podcast with, and maybe this could be one of our first episodes. He's in the process of moving, and he'll be joining me soon. His name's Ian. If you've seen previous episodes, he was in the chat as well. I did. Let's see. Capitalism wasn't capitalist. The closest it was corporatism used to be part of the party. You have to pay the party. Used to be green lit by the party. It was socialist. Yeah, National Socialist. It's not Stalinism, no. It's not communism, no. But yes, it's National Socialism. Yeah, national as everyone has people, but really just the state. A ball is here, and I'll wait for you to catch up because I keep on missing it. I'm sorry for keep on asking. As an American, are you a capitalist or no? Again, I don't like the way that the country has been headed. I don't believe in this whole international Jewish capitalism. I don't think it's right sending jobs overseas. I think our founding fathers will be turning in their graves. I think there's too much of a disconnect between those in power today and the average working American. I think too many American workers are being exploited, and something needs to change. I think boomers have gained way too much of the finances in this country, and it's hard for my generation and people starting a family to get by nowadays. And I think that's a travesty, and the American dream is not what it once was. So to sum it up, I guess I don't believe in this international Jewish capitalism. I think we need to come back to national capitalism. You know what I mean? Keep in mind, like, this country was founded before fucking planes existed. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Before we had that connection to the outside world, really, yeah. Right?
Catch up. What is your best proof that you have to do with 9/11? I think I already answered that. I'd ask for a whole documentary. There's so much shit out there. I just wanted what hold you so firm on a belief, and then
I think saying so what holds you so firm on a belief, and he could just tell you why that one thing is wrong.
I've already watched it. You've watched Missing Links?
I think he might be talking about the Larry Silverstein.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Video.
The same way capitalists will say to a communist, do you have any example of national capitalism function or any government ever in all of history where isolationism proved successful and beneficial for the population of their country? Unfortunately, other than Germany in 1930, I can't really point to anything specific. I'm sure there are different parts of the world where they're not, one or the other. I think,
I don't think you have to like solo yourself out and be like an isolated society fully, right? I just think
there needs to be more checks on it.
Right.
Why do you call capitalism Jewish capitalism this time? I finally heard. I call it Jewish capitalism because it's like, it's very exploitative, and it's become international, kind of like this whole New World Order type thing where they're trying to control the whole fucking world. I believe they've infiltrated our government and have been using us to exploit resources all over the world to the detriment of humanity as a whole. That's why I call it Jewish capitalism. Never mind, I'm going to give you my email. Do you let me know? I've never seen your podcast before. Twitch makes it so hard to ever find a Twitch account, and sadly I work 70 hours a week. Okay, no worries. Check out my YouTube channel. It's Millennial.
You're on Rumble.
Okay, Rumble. I'm at Rumble. Check out the Rumble channel. Wait, is this not up yet? I'm just gonna pop up a new window. Yeah, definitely follow us on Rumble. I forgot you're on Twitch, and therefore you're not able to see any past episodes. But if you go to my channel here, I don't know what's
Just
going on.
click on your name up there, I think.
Millennial Matthew. Why is it not going to it? Okay, there we go. Millennial Matthew. Check me out on Rumble. Do follow. I think one of the recent episodes I was going in.
Do you want to get his email right there?
Sure. Yeah, that's whack that Twitch doesn't let us save these live streams. We did one yesterday and we tried uploading it, but it said file corrupted, and it appears as though we've lost it. But yeah, check me out here, Millennial Matthew. Just getting started on Rumble. We have another channel. It's the Ethereal Alkalarian podcast, and I have another channel with my good friend, the Black Sun podcast.
You messed it up already.
Sorry, I can't see the.
There it is.
Cool. Yeah, check. This is my friend Ian and I. This is where we kind of get into more of this stuff. Oh man, there's only 2 videos up there, huh? We have a lot of episodes. We're also on like Apple. If you just type the Black Sun podcast, there's a lot of stuff there. But we have this one. Her and I did another, the Ethereal Alkalarian podcast. Maybe we'll start that one up and just kind of be a little more, do more reaction videos and not be so political.
That's what tonight was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be, but pretty much all my channels are supposed to be like lighthearted reaction, and they end up turning into this. So,
thanks for chatting to us, though.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's really nice having someone else on the live stream.
I think it's interesting to talk to someone who maybe doesn't have the exact like you're not in like an echo chamber where you're just like yeah. Like it's interesting to hear someone else's point of view and like have a discussion, and
yeah,
I think it just like leads to more questions, which is like also interesting. So
yeah,
I feel like a viewer. That's cool.
Okay, why do you call capitalism Jewish? Read that one. Never mind, I'm gonna give you my email. Okay, I took a picture. Do you let me know? I've never seen your podcast before. Twitch makes okay. Now you got it. Sadly, I work 70 hours a week. Damn, bro, my heart goes out to you. 70 hours a week with a newborn and a 1-year-old or 18-month-old. I feel for you, man. That's tough being away from them. It's tough being away from my little guy for 40 hours a week. I can't stand it. Had a night off. I drank a few beers and I just wanted to talk history, and I ended up falling here. So I'm going to give you my email. Let me know when your boy Ian, who is the master of all this information, he really is, to be honest. I'd be happy to talk to him. I would appreciate having a list of conspiracy theories he likes most. Psycho can look into, I think you meant to say, look into the very specific conspiracy theories he has, so then I can talk about the specific conspiracy theories he believes in. Sounds like you just like to argue, bro.
Well, it's interesting.
No, I'm just kidding.
He does say down here, I don't like to agree. I don't like agreement.
Just to clarify, National Socialist Germany, even if its own right did not, did not even hit the ideals you're looking for, and also was a failure of the state. I don't agree with everything. I just think they were on the right track, and I think they were trying to warn us, and they were doing what they had to do in that time for their people. As they saw fit, given the climate, right? After there's so much shit going on after World War I. Just to clarify, it was heading towards bankruptcy and desperately claiming. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. No. And I've spoken to Germans who actually lived it, and they were first of all shocked that I was willing to listen to them speak about how much they loved National Socialism and their fear at the time. And this woman was telling me how, anyway, the American soldiers came in and she thought they were going to save her, and they actually shot at them. So it's interesting when you talk to people who actually lived through it, and there's not many of them left. Yeah, you ruined it, bro. You ruined the ability to just watch videos. No worries. Again, we appreciate having you. I agree. I got on my way to always integrate myself into different groups as I don't like agreement personally. Right on. It's good to question things, right? And this, unfortunately, is a lost art. This, type of discussion. What's the Rumble channel again? I got the Black Sun podcast, but what was yours, Millennial Matthew? Yes, sir, Millennial Matthew. That's the one I'll be going live on pretty much regularly now, trying to stay consistent with it, mostly just trying to do reaction videos. But again, it just always ends up being some political shit. I did not want to make this a political channel, but that's kind of what it's become. And, I'm cool with that. What? This?
No, just saying that your channel.
Yeah.
It just always leads back to that somehow.
It does. It's the Rumble channel again. Right on. I'm so confused. I was trying to spell it and can't find it. That's another weird thing is it's people are having a hard time following my channel, finding my channel. I've told friends, that I was on Rumble, gave them my channel, and they said that they looked it up and couldn't find it. I don't know if I'm being suppressed. I don't know if I need to complete this whole sign up process or something. I don't know what it is. But hopefully as it grows and I do more lives and more people tap in, people will be able to find it. I don't know.
I mean, your videos have views, so it's kind of just like...
Yeah, it is being seen, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, shoot. We're still learning. We're still kind of new to all this.
Oopsie.
Streaming and stuff. Even though we've tried it in the past, we haven't really gained a huge audience.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
What?
He said, "Can you put the link in the chat?" But you can't on the pop out. So I was trying to. Maybe here. Mm-hmm. I'm not really sure what happened to the pop-out version of the chat. There it is. Oh.
Did we lose everything?
I guess so. That kind of sucks, huh?
No way. Are you serious?
I mean, we're looking at the same thing right now, are we not?
No way.
Okay, there you go.
Damn, I was worried we just lost the whole freaking chat. Had to pull it up on Rumble.
No, I had to pull it up on Twitch because that's where he's talking to you.
Oh, that's what it is, yeah. I'm so confused. Try spelling. Okay, correct. I do like to argue. Yeah, you spoke to Germans. They were actually involved in the financial hiding. The government was hiding from everyday people when the last person in World War II died. No, it was just a regular German citizen. It was this woman who was at physical therapy. And she was just telling me how amazing it was when he came into power and how much they love him and how I think she told me that he gave people starting new families a Beagle, a Volkswagen, or is that what it is? Is that what they called those, or the Bugs, the VW Bugs? He was giving those to families, and yeah, they were doing really well. Actually, all the financial.
Sorry, this is just trippy because it's like a picture of us and it's like the Twitch chat and us. There you go.
So what does it look like right now? He's just seeing this?
Yeah, but I was trying to make it this.
All right. Typed it in for word letter, and that's not coming up at all. Can you drop the link, please? Damn.
I typed the link. That's what I did.
Okay. Hopefully you received that.
I know, that's strange, though.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and watch good old Larry Silverstein.
Very, very lucky.
Yeah. It's a classic.
I had the pleasure of working pretty much with every prime minister of Israel, from Yitzhak Shamir forward. I said to myself, wouldn't it be fantastic if I could own the Twin Towers? We got very, very lucky. The governor of New York, George Pataki, decided one day that maybe it would be good to privatize the ownership of the World Trade Center. So I got a call from the governor's office, and they said, would you ever consider owning the World Trade Center? It was very, very good for the family, very good for us, and we were very, very fortunate. On the morning of 9/11, I'm getting ready, getting dressed.
You want to share another one?
Sure.
To go to the dermatologist. I have light-colored hair, light skin. The sun is a disaster for me. I can't take the sun.
I'm melting.
She said, okay, but you're going to the dermatologist. You're going this morning, and you're not going downtown. We got very, very
gotta
lucky.
go too.
And I had an obligation to collect the insurance proceeds from the policies. A new governor was just elected. Elliot Spitzer, an old friend who I knew well. I said, Elliot, if you don't help me, I'll never collect from the insurance companies. And guess what? He listened, and he said, you know what? You're entitled. I'm going to get you the money. And in 6 months, he got me the $4.5 billion. We got very, very lucky.
Yeah. Good old Larry.
If you have PCOS, stop scrolling.
Got very lucky.
Ash, I've lost.
There's no way they were involved. What proof do you have, Goy? That's anti-Semitic. Pretty close.
This is tripping me out. It's like
we've got too much going on here.
I'm trying to get the chat back.
Like a kaleidoscope.
Oh, he's on Rumble now. That's why I can't see his chats. Okay.
So we just go back to Rumble Studio. Does it show all?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we see it now. What happened?
I'm struggling here.
I think you gotta click down. It says 99.
Okay.
Bear with us.
Just take the mouse away, please. Well, I don't know. What do you want to watch now?
Are you at the bottom of the chat? Do you have any proof they were involved? Just the mountain of video evidence and, you know, undeniable. I don't know. Just one thing, not watch a 1+ long documentary, which is all debunked. Just one, so I can point out that one. It's like, what's debunked? What are you saying debunked? Are you saying that the Urban Moving Systems company never existed, that's been debunked? Are you saying that the Israelis who were also Mossad agents weren't apprehended and weren't later allowed to flee back to Israel and didn't claim that they were documenting the World Trade Center, the Twin Towers, the day that happened? Are you saying that building number 7 never collapsed? Are you saying that's been debunked? Are you saying that it's believable that the Twin Towers collapsed just from 2 planes hitting it? Are you saying that's been debunked? Are you saying that the video evidence of the the projectiles shooting out from the building and as explosives are going off inside, are you saying that that never happened? I mean, where do we want to where do you want to begin? One at a time, which is, and again, I'm not really trying to have this debate right now. One at a time, which is one you tied to the Jews, is they caused it. Are you saying the only people who could ever collapse building number 7 has to be the Jews, for example? I mean, why are you trying to prove them innocent? Why are you trying to lawyer up for the Jays? Is it just you're trying not to be agreeable here, or again? And then what's the point of putting energy in that when we have so much going on right now, and a mountain of evidence that our country has basically been pulled into another endless war by these Jays, you know? What is going on here?
I'm trying to figure this out, dude.
What happened? What's the problem?
I'm trying to get the chat on the side and then the other shit right here.
It's not.
Now you can struggle. Now you can struggle.
Was this what we were reacting to? These videos?
Mm-hmm.
Is that good? Are we good to go?
I guess so. I don't know anymore. 1 a.m.
It seems like everything's kind of off. Let's see.
Yeah.
It's all good though. I think we could work with it. Maybe we move this over a little bit. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people kind of feel like Rumble sucks, I think. I've heard that twice in the last 24 hours.
Someone makes a claim, for example, if they make a claim that you were a murderer, and he said, so do you have any proof that and you said, so do you have any proof that I'm a murderer, and said the undeniable amount of things like someone died near your home and I did not personally see if you were home that night. Well, Rumble kind of sucks. Yeah, true. Also 1 in the morning for you guys too. I guess you guys are also East Coast. Yes, sir.
I saw this video earlier and I thought it was an interesting question. I don't know.
Has anybody else realized that the algorithm is now force-feeding us information that makes us distrust authority? I find it very fishy that suddenly we're allowed to talk about what is being sprayed in the skies without it being taken down as misinformation. Talk about the potential of all of our politicians being bought out by a foreign country without it being taken down or flagged as hate speech. Talk about what they did to us in 2020 without it being flagged as misinformation and your account being banned. I could go on, but I find this very suspicious. I don't know if it's either them trying to put us into a category as a form of pre-crime or pre-surveillance, right? Labeling us digitally. I don't know if it's trying to get everybody so charged that we take down the current system so that another system can be ushered in via us not voting, us not paying taxes, or us just getting so charged that we just become anarchists and take the whole thing down ourselves. I'm really curious, why do you guys think that the system and the algorithm is currently pushing content that makes us distrust authority? Epstein was another huge wave of this, which went mainstream. Why is this suddenly allowed to be discussed? Has anybody else realized that the algorithm is now force-feeding us information that makes us distrust authority? I find it very fishy that suddenly we're allowed to talk about what is being sprayed in the skies without it being taken down as misinformation. Talk about the potential of all of our politicians being bought out by a foreign country without it being taken down or flagged as hate speech. Talk about what they did to us in 2020 without it being flagged as misinformation and your account being banned. I could go on, but I find this very suspicious.
I just thought it was interesting. It was an interesting question.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before. Yesterday we talked about it a little bit, but you know how I was banned on every single platform for sharing some of the stuff that a lot of people are able to share today, and it does kind of make you wonder, right? Like, why all of a sudden are they allowing this? I guess certain other platforms are cracking down, but it is interesting. Initial stages of pre-crime surveillance state, Palantir, or orchestrated chaos to make things appear so absurdly bad that we're willing to accept a solution that is presented next. Something else? Stay safe from your leaders and oligarchs. Very true. And I think they recently admitted chemtrails too, but that's something I can look into. Someone says, I'm convinced they're building digital profiles of every citizen. Every like, every comment, viewing time on a particular video or particular content logged and recorded, guessing that's what the large data centers are all about. Yep. Possibly.
Right, that's like the big question.
Ian's back on Twitch because Rumble is just not functional at all. Well, thanks for sticking with us. And that sucks. Rumble's geeked out. I don't know what's up with it.
Yeah, I don't know either, honestly. But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting video. Came across.
They don't need us anymore.
Damn. Well, it's also just like, you know, they make money somehow from everyone having like an algorithm, and I guess this is just a lot of people's algorithm.
Hold on, let me read this one.
Has anybody else
they want the world in a trauma state. It's like allowing all the pictures of Gaza to come online. Now these pictures have suddenly disappeared. A lot of people who also deep dived into the Epstein files literally broke down. Many of us did the same with Pizzagate, so the Epstein files wasn't a surprise. I think they want people in a permanent PTSD state. Maybe we are more controllable that way. I don't know. Possibly. There's another one. This one, it says, I've had the exact same thoughts about all this. I also get heavily swayed towards anti-Semitism and anti-Jew views. AI translated speeches from the Austrian painter, experts from the Talmud that talk about killing non-Jews and other horrible stuff. Good goy, Vietnam War-esque propaganda. It's mind-boggling the amount. Who wants to be a Nazi? Someone does, according to my reels at least. Yeah. They put you in the echo chamber, that's for sure, right?
Right. Which just leads to like not being able to really, you're just like, stay here, you know, as your algorithm. It's just like, okay, we're going to keep you here. But it doesn't really help like everything grow as a whole, you know?
Yeah. Correct again with, I think you said the girl. The girl, honestly, I know your wife has a better critical mind because you could hear this question and already answered it without coming up with some deeper new conspiracy.
Well, I guess it's just like, I don't know the answer. I'm just throwing things out there, you know? It could be something like a insane, like, if you want to call it a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Or it could just be like an algorithm. You know what I mean? And like, but the thing is like the reason I found this video interesting is because he was banned, and now I see
I am banned. I can't even make an account.
Right, and now I see all these things that were like why he was banned. So it is interesting why they would suddenly allow it. I don't know the answer, but I just, you know, who knows?
Says, yes, it's capitalism. As more people start going down the rabbit hole and have interest in either just watching the weirdness or actually believe the weirdness, and distrust of the government means more people will click and follow, and that makes the algorithm more of those people involved. Correct. You don't know the answer, he's saying, but you're smart enough to be able to take the situation, rationalize it way better than the Jays are the cause. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's always like
just the Jays.
Yeah, I'm not like that deluded, But
I'm anti-Semitic.
No, I mean, like, maybe I'm a bit too. I just, my name's Daisy. Okay, what do you think about this whole Lyme disease thing then? Where is it?
W Daisy. Yeah. Hey, it's a balance, right?
Well, I guess I'm just like, I don't know the answer to everything. Yeah. I don't think you're claiming you do either.
She keeps an
but
open
I'm just
mind,
trying to.
Which is why she's my wife. She can hear me talk about all this stuff and know that I'm not just some hateful, evil, anti-Semite Nazi. You know what I mean? So.
I didn't even watch.
I'm just noticing patterns here. Is that the music for that? Yeah. Oh, we're getting demonetized for this one. While you were distracted by the Iran-Israel war, 450,000 Americans now have a meat allergy thanks to Bill Gates. $450,000 Americans now have an alpha-gal syndrome due to Bill Gates funded tick which infect people with a meat allergy. The first Americans just died last week. Bill Gates has poured his money into funding genetically engineered ticks which infect people with alpha-gal syndrome, a condition that makes people violently allergic to meat. The funding is going into researching how Lone Star tick can be engineered and utilized to induce a widespread meat allergy in order to reduce global meat consumption. The reason? A climate crisis. Well, guess who profits from selling fake meat as an alternative to real meat? Once you understand that them demonizing nature's food is just so to keep you weak and devoid of nutrients, so you keep buying their products until you die. It's time to embrace nature, eat clean and real food, and take care of your family. Agree.
Which, I mean, it's always kind of been time to just, like, eat real food.
I mean, it has been.
And we don't even eat meat, so.
Yeah. Or trust the food industry already.
Right.
Right? Monsanto, the Jays. No. I mean, come on. Just noticing patterns, Dave Smith.
Yeah. I just think this is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had a tick on me. Have you? Have you ever been bit by a tick?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I've been hiking and, later found one like up my leg. I've had to pick them off of runts.
Yeah, I've picked them off dogs before, but yeah, they're freaky.
I had a coworker who had Lyme's disease. I'm not sure if it was from ticks.
Yeah.
But he suffered with it.
Right.
He's like very achy all the time.
Which
Did you want to read that?
Well, it leads me to apparently they're dropping a new Lyme vaccine. And like, I'm not on these farms. I don't know if they're really finding boxes of ticks. I haven't seen any pictures. So I also don't know if this is like,
Suddenly, boxes of ticks have been found all over farms, and they're predicting this spring, all summer are going to be the worst tick season ever.
Right. Which, like, I don't know why predicting is in quotes either. It's kind of random, but I don't know. Suddenly this was just all over my feed, so I saved these videos. I don't really even... Americans, please take care of your rotten country and government. This is the second post I've seen about this, but I have yet to find a confirmed source. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm confused about too, is like, I don't really know. Pfizer have never cured a disease ever. I don't... No shit. I mean...
Yeah.
But then again, is this just like another thing to like instill fear in people to like, I guess, keep them focused on something? Like Lyme disease is definitely a real thing. People definitely get it from ticks.
Yeah. He said, I don't know why they're playing the J-ish music over Bill Gates. He's a Protestant. Second, this claim is not true. Bill Gates Foundation funded this research in 2021 to self-limiting cattle tick to preventing livestock disease, I think he means not to harm humans.
Probably.
I don't know, man. Bill Gates has been behind some sick shit. I think it is confirmed, right, that he did fund this whole thing with mosquitoes, right? Where they released a bunch of mosquitoes that were carrying the mRN. Let's see. And he was also trying to fund some blocking out the sun idea. Yeah. Mosquitoes.
Damn.
mRN.
How do mosquitoes track you?
mRNA vaccine, mosquitoes. Progress of mosquito-borne virus with mRNA vaccine is being actively developed to combat mosquito-borne diseases. Again, I don't know too much about it.
I don't know. Just from a whatever stance, I feel like it's kind of crazy to. It's just how we genetically modify foods. I don't think we should be trying to genetically modify anything. I feel like it's not gonna end well. It's gonna be Fallout, where everything's suddenly crazy.
I hope not. I'm trying to stay white-pilled.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, if you dabble in that, who knows what they could create that could be horrible. I feel like it's just not really something people should be doing, morally.
Yeah. Yeah, they claim it's all behind the guise of helping, right, and protecting humans, but
well, same with this whole AI thing too. It's it can help us, but I don't know if it's really the right answer. I don't really think we should be going this way as a society.
Yeah,
it's kind of let's not dabble with that.
And for the reason why they're playing the J-ish music over Bill Gates, just he has many ties to Mr. Easteen, so maybe that could have something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe he's just another Shabbos goy. Maybe that's why. W Daisy again. Why is that in quotes? What in quotes?
All over farms, and they're predicting.
Oh.
That doesn't even make sense, honestly.
Daisy, it should be noted all Bill Gates conspiracies come off from the back of a misquoted statement where Bill Gates' efforts of controlling climate change is to control human death. Research is fun that as people around more people who died, they end up reproducing more.
Interesting.
Uncontrollable reproduction, not to limit reproduction, now to stop reproduction, but uncontrollable reproduction, over-reproduction. So Bill Gates and his foundation's goal is to limit human death, as human death causes uncontrollable human growth. When Daisy, I don't know. WD, that's the new, I guess.
WD.
I don't know, dude.
Uncontrollable reproduction, not the limit reproduction, now to stop reproduction.
What was that? He injected a bunch of people with, I forget what it was called. Injected. Debunked. I don't know about that. Yeah, and he talks about reducing populations. That's the quote he's probably talking about.
Why?
Children were harmed. They're saying it's misinformation. Social media posts falsely claiming children were harmed in Africa by Gates-supported vaccines, often use unrelated old photos from different contexts, according to AP News. Yeah, it was the polio vaccine. Accusation that Gates caused polio outbreaks or infertility in Africa have been refuted by health organizations like the WHO. Oh, because we sure trust the WHO, who reports AFP fact check. Many of these claims are spread via anti-vaccine networks and social media, often targeting the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, extensive global. I don't know, man. Anybody who's, that tied with Mr. Jeffrey, who. I can't get behind it, but. If people are willing to inject themselves with this shit, that's kind of on them. I mean, I'm not saying he's the fucking,
I guess it also just leads to the question of like everything that happened with COVID and how society was like flipped upside down over that. If they were to like, you know, do something again like this, like say it is like this Lyme disease thing, I just wonder how society will like react to something else like this happening.
Right.
You know. But I also saved this video, which I thought was interesting. But it's basically what I make for our dogs, is this like natural repellent for bugs. Or maybe that's why I've never had a tick on me.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was cool.
WD versus L. Matthew LM. Bro, tell me you're a feminist without telling me you're a feminist. No, I'm just kidding.
I really
That's cool. My wife, hey, I'm glad, you know. She's got a good head on her shoulders, so.
I'm trying my best to just ask questions.
Yeah. My wife asks questions. She has an open mind.
I don't know the answers.
I love it. And I don't claim to know everything either. Shit.
No, I'm not saying that you do either. I'm just...
Not a feminist. I'm the last real Republican. Oh, I don't know. That might be worse nowadays. Is that why you're so, you're such a defender of Israel?
Do you believe in Judeo-Christianity?
Eesh. See, she asked the right questions.
Do you believe that isn't... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're just going... I don't really have a good segue or anything. They're just random
we
videos.
Just play some random shit. We could react to it.
This shit's crazy.
You gotta repent, sir, for murdering babies.
Why?
Because it's a sin before God.
Why?
Wow.
Stinky breath.
Yeah,
Why?
that's pretty evil of you, sir.
Yeah, I am.
And I hope and pray that you...
Yeah.
Well, that's what you do to babies, huh?
Yeah, I love it.
You love it, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I hope that you come to Christ, sir.
Oh, I never go to Christ.
I hope that you come to Christ,
no,
sir.
No, I don't go to Christ.
Yeah,
I don't listen to Christ.
You will have a darkened heart, sir.
I do have a darkened heart. Yeah.
You have a darkened heart.
I do, very, very much so.
And you will stand before God in judgment day.
Yes, I will. Every day.
You will stand before God in judgment day.
Yes, I will. Every day.
All of the babies that you have
love
killed.
it. I love it.
Yeah, keep tearing the babies apart.
Yeah, I will.
Keep tearing the babies
I
apart.
will.
Keep tearing the babies apart. Yeah, sir, the babies, their blood screams from the ground. You gotta repent, sir, for murdering babies.
So crazy, dude.
Yeah. Twisted. Evil shit.
That's nuts.
Yeah, inhumane. Definitely. There's 100% a spirit manifesting. Yeah, an evil spirit. People still think abortion is just something you do. It is child sacrifice. Yep.
It's horrible. It's so disturbing.
Yeah. I'd be willing to bet. Every single Berg time in Steen. Man, that guy is just anti-Semitic.
That was fun. Oh, I hate Rancy bugs. That's so funny.
Careful touching them.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Yeah.
Crazy.
But like, I mean, how can you be like so happy about it, like proud of it, you know? Like, I could maybe understand a doctor being like, nah, I couldn't even understand this, but it would be like normal for them to be like, no, I'm doing this medical procedure, and them coming from like what you would assume a doctor would like be like, you know? But this dude's like, I love it. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. How do you sleep at night?
Very disturbing.
Yeah.
I'm the last real Republican. Well, you know, constitutional republic. That's what it was meant to be, right? I support history. If you were super Zionist, I would do the reverse. So you're saying you're not Zionist, and sadly I'm not. You're not what, a Zionist? To clarify, abortion is bad because it removes people from society that could solve problems we have. Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget, this guy is probably yelling at people walking in, and him probably for hours at some point. You might just be trolling. Word. He even made a funny voice for it. I'm not Christian. Interesting.
Yeah. I just don't even think it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Very unprofessional. And just cold.
Right. And like, I don't even think that the women receiving these abortions would want this type of energy about it.
Absolutely.
Unless you're also demonic, you know?
Yeah.
And this is like super crazy. This video is super crazy. It makes me sick. Did I show this one?
No.
This guy lives, he's in Australia.
One of the reasons why I got into speaking against abortion is that I learned in Australia we have abortion up to birth.
Yeah,
and one of the methods of abortion is that they'll induce the baby knowing that it's going to die and then leave the baby to die alone in an empty pen room all by itself, to cry, to be alone and to die, not knowing any love from anybody. And this should outrage you. It outraged me, and it's disgusting. We cannot allow this to happen to a vulnerable member of our species or to anybody. This is awful and should never happen, and we need to stop this. One of the reasons...
What I don't understand is, for one, how is that legal? Because if you were a mother, like you see it like more often than I would like to, but like a girl like giving birth in a bathroom and leaving the baby in the trash can, they're charged with murder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how is this not the same?
Right.
Which like opens up the can of worms of like, when does it become murder? You know, like that's the debate, I guess. But like, this has got to be clear in most people's minds that that's.
Yeah, and that's in Australia, huh?
Right.
That's horrible.
And I'm just taking this guy's word for it. I don't know if this is like.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think in Israel they have abortions up to pregnancy as well.
Right, like third term or whatever.
And this is like after it's born, they're allowed to terminate it.
Right, they're basically saying like they induce you.
That is horrible.
Which is like what I was induced. You know.
Yeah.
It's horrendous. I don't really have anything to say other than this is horrible and this shouldn't be happening.
Me too. Very disturbing. It's kind of enraging too at the same time. It's like, you know.
It makes me sick that anyone would, like, a doctor is supposed to protect you and do what's right, you know? They sign, they say the oath or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is like the complete opposite of that. And I feel like if you're pro-abortion, then, you know, do you agree with this? Or do you have, like, what, like, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, it's kind of like, if you're down for this at all, then, like, I don't want to know you.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know if I really want to watch the other ones. But, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the laws in Australia. I don't know if this...
Yeah.
Like, with most things online, you don't, like, 100% know, but I do... I don't believe everyone's out there just delusionally, like, speaking and making these things up. But, you know, I have to admit that I don't fully know.
Not to defend it, but satirists believe that Satan gave us knowledge by tempting us with the apple. Yeah. The middle path. I'm a libertarian. Interesting. Did you vote for Ron Paul, or did you support him? He was the last real libertarian, I think. What does that say? Can you scroll down?
No, I won't. Oh. Yeah, no, it only goes that far.
Okay. And wanting us to have free will was too young. Okay. So you're young, girl. I'm 36.
You child. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, free will is an interesting thing.
Right on, man.
I just turned 32. 30 as well. Not 32. Yeah, this world's crazy. That's for sure.
Play that one you showed me earlier. Or what's this one? Yeah.
I'm trans, Norma.
I'm Frankie. Pronouns they, them.
As a transberry, I love living out loud as my most authentic self.
I know I'm safe when I'm with my friends or other non-binary people.
He's the undisputed champion of my heart.
My name is Charles. I use they, them for my pronouns.
Banafi will slay that runway.
Nightshade's pronouns are they, them.
He or she just doesn't fit who I am.
Welcome to your crash course in holiday self-expression.
Horrible.
It's like...
Protect them. I've torn down a few rainbow flags at schools. Because that's not where they should need to be. Not where they should be. Hey, Bateman with that. He's got brain rot. The guy's got fucking brain rot.
He must be 30.
He's fucking anti-Semitic. He's 36.
That's a crazy gift. Yeah, honestly, I agree with this though. Where is it? I don't care what you do as an adult. I genuinely don't really give a fuck as long as you're not shoving it down people's throats or in kids' faces.
Yeah. Hey, little guy's waking up.
Doing some crunches or what?
You want to go check on him?
Yeah. All right. WD again.
What? Her saying that it's okay for adults?
Well, I don't morally really agree with it, but like I do think that like you have the freedom to do what you want. I think that that's important.
Where did I catch the L in this though? Because me and her pretty much have the same stance on it.
Yeah, it's WMND. There you go.
They can do what they want, but you know what I mean? That's cold. Well, apparently not if
well, I'm saying
if I
like,
married
they
her.
can do what they want, but I don't morally necessarily agree with it.
I mean, isn't that where it started though? With us saying that it's okay, like they can.
That's a good point.
They can do what they want.
Where does it lead to?
Right.
This pedophile shit.
Exactly.
Right.
And I guess like behind. Yeah. Thank you. It really was my biggest W. Absolutely. And it's the greatest blessing by far. I don't know where I would be without her. Yeah. Okay, so you seem to have a leftist take in that sense, though. You call yourself the last real Republican, at least by modern, standards. But I'm like I'm torn between it because I do know I know this lesbian couple that's been friends of the family, so to speak. They kind of show up at like Thanksgiving every now and then, or Christmas, or like birthday parties for like they were friends with my aunt who passed away, but they remain like family friends, and I haven't really communicated with them much because they weren't friends with my mom, other than just like due to like proximity, us being okay with each other. But they seem like good enough people to where I can't just shit on all gays. And I know that there's a whole movement for gays against trans, right? Old school Republicans were libertarians. I agree. I started my journey off into this whole fucking pushing towards the right as, a supporter of Ron Paul, and I called myself a libertarian as well. But the point I was saying is like, I do believe we should have the freedom, to be whatever. I just don't think that it should be promoted in any way, shape, or form. I don't think it's right that these people feel as though they are entitled to some type of safe space, meaning they can put their fucking sexuality on display for the public. I don't think they should be having parades. I don't think they need to have flags and fucking banners and stickers everywhere. in all these businesses and whatnot, and to shove this whole like inclusive, term down people's fucking, throats. It's ridiculous. Old school Republicans were libertarians. Guess in 6 years I will match the rot and we will agree. Maybe, bro. I mean, I don't see any other type of solution as far as us being able to get our country back than, I guess what you would call like the whole fucking, I think the National Socialists came the closest to, freeing the world from organized Jewry. Yeah, it's a tough one. Just don't promote it. That's all. Like, it's completely unnecessary. This whole like, they need a safe space thing and flags and banners and stickers everywhere really makes me uncomfortable. And it's a real slap in the face to natural order. It's a real slap in the face to Christians. It's not providing a safe place for kids when they're being forced to like see these things and have to question it, and parents have to answer those questions, and for them to be, given these special, the special treatment. You looking for a final solution? Damn right I am. I get them wanting something to identify with. I mean, they need to repent. They need to accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, repent from their demonic ways. I think we should ban the Talmud. I don't know. I think they need to be kept out of government, basically, unless they're going to pledge full allegiance to one country, the country that they're staying in permanently, and anything else, if they're found guilty of, like having allegiance towards other countries and doing things to profit other countries and benefit other countries, that should be considered treason. If the majority of ... this is why I needed text to speech. Where is Daisy? Maybe Matt should help the kid out. Yeah, I don't know. She's got the way of putting him back to sleep that I don't. Breastfeeding is magical sometimes. It's a godsend, that's for sure. You're feeding yours. Well, that's one thing I can't do. Unless, I use a bottle and take what she's pumped. Oh, true, doing formula for the second kid. Man, I'm sorry. How's that going? That's got to be tough. No wonder you got to work 70 hours. Shit. Honestly, been amazing in a positive way, because I've seen some of the shit that's in that formula, and it's pretty alarming. I know Ian Carroll did a deep dive on it. You probably think he's an anti-Semite, but yeah, I wouldn't want to give my kid that. And it's interesting how doctors push that. I'm pretty sure they get kickbacks.
You thought skincare products were toxic. Wait till we look at baby formula. This is so messed up. Today we're gonna speed run all things babies. We're gonna do formula, baby food, baby products, and diapers. And if you have a sensitive soul, be warned, it's not good. At the end, I'll show you where to go to get the spreadsheets that show you who owns everything. But now let's just take a tour of lawsuits. And we'll start with the oldest kids. Pediasure is pumping them full of sugar. They're being sued for claiming that your child should drink 2 of their shakes per day, which has more sugar than a can of Coca-Cola. And they're putting things like pediatrician recommended brand on their packaging. I can only think of one reason why a pediatrician would be recommending this shit. But hold up, because it gets worse the younger we go. There is no shortage of baby food lawsuits out there. And a lot of the most recent ones are based on this report that the House Subcommittee of Economic and Consumer Policy published. But hold up, where'd it go? Yeah, if you didn't know, everything you put on the internet is permanent, and I went to Web Archive and found it. Because I don't know why they deleted it, but that's kind of sus. Because in this report, they allege, with evidence, that all of these companies are feeding babies toxic heavy metals in extreme dosage.
What do all of these companies have in common? They're all owned by mega corporations. And I want you to pay attention, because this is exactly why I do the research that I do. And this is exactly why I'm always talking about why we should not be buying things from giant corporations, particularly food, health products, cosmetics. Not only did this report find these baby food products were full of toxic heavy metals like arsenic, lead, cadmium, and mercury, but then also Walmart, Campbell's Soup, and Sprout Organic Foods refused to cooperate with the investigation because... I'll link this study in the baby food spreadsheet so you can read it, but they found arsenic at 91 times the allowable level by the EPA. They found lead at 177 times the allowable level, and they found cadmium at 69 times the allowable level, mercury at 5 times the allowable level. Happy Baby sold all products tested regardless of how much toxic heavy metals the baby food contained. By company policy, Nurture's toxic heavy metal testing is not intended for consumer safety. Beechnut set internal arsenic and cadmium standards at 3,000 and 5,000. These standards are the highest of any responding manufacturer. Why are the corporations determining how much arsenic and lead they are allowed to have in their own product? And fuck it, Hain Celestial Group exceeded their own internal policies. So they're setting their own policies of what's safe to give to your baby, and then they're exceeding them or not really testing for them because who cares? Sorry, am I getting that right? Not to mention that most corporate policies are to test the ingredients, not the final products. And thereby, in 100% of Hain baby foods tested, inorganic arsenic levels were higher.
That's good. You make your own baby food. Yeah, we'll definitely be doing the same. We haven't started feeding him any food yet. Just been breastfeeding, and he's doing great. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, I just, I couldn't imagine giving him baby formula at this time. It's insane, the stuff that's in it.
You thought skincare products.
And as far as David Irving, I've seen the guy. I've seen some of his interviews, but I'm not too familiar. I know he's considered. It says David John Caudle Irving is an English author who has written on the military and political history of the Second World War, especially Nazi Germany. He was found to be a Holocaust denier in a British court in 2000 as a result of failed libel cases. Failed libel. I mean, are you familiar with Ernst Zundel? There's several countries you're not even allowed to question the Holocaust, and you will be imprisoned if you do so. And that kind of reminds me of the quote, like, if you want to know who controls you, it's who you're not able to question. Something along those lines, right? But I'm sure David Irving has some great points, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was imprisoned, for being correct. But yeah. Yeah, I felt that way the first time, but the second is way better than my first. So that's great, man. As long as it's working and you're getting some good stuff and you're reading the labels and checking the ingredients, just doing the best we can, right? That's all we can do. He made up research knowingly. I mean, that's horrible if he did so. Again, I'm not too familiar with the guy, David Irving. Maybe he has tainted the category of Holocaust denier. He denied the existence of gas chambers. I know he's not the only one to deny the existence of gas chambers. There's the whole Luchter report. I believe his name's Fred Luchter. Did a whole study on it. And then later, after threats and, them attacking his career and his income, his livelihood, I think he went back on him. I don't know. A lot of these people put a stain on the whole truth movement, but like many of the soldiers in the Nuremberg trials, they were tortured into giving confessions. So, you know, there's that. I think, you know, he was sued and lost the case, proving libel. I mean, by what, a panel of Jewish, you know, lawyers and a jury. I mean, who had been brainwashed by the Jewish education indoctrination system. I don't know. I mean, we're going on almost, you know, 100 years since all this stuff happened, and they've controlled the narrative. You know, the victors wrote the history. But again, I don't agree with everything that the National Socialists did. I think that they were doing what they felt was right and what needed to be done during that time. You know? But I don't believe that the painter is the most evil person there ever was in history, as they made him out to be, the most demonized person in history. I do believe he was actually trying to save us, and I believe he did a lot of good for his country, and I believe he was a great man. You know, I think he was under a lot of stress and, you know, didn't make the right decisions all the time. He was imperfect, but I do believe that he did the best he could to make peace. He had many peace offerings that were denied by, you know, these people who were funded by the Rothschilds, these war profiteers, and these people who were, you know, just going against him because he had revived his country and was going against the banking system. Do you think the Holocaust did not happen? Do you think? No, I don't think it happened the way that it's been told. You know, throughout history, the victors wrote the history. I don't even think there were 6 million Jews in Germany at the time, and you know, a lot of them left because they were given fair warning to get out of the country. Do you not know that, you know, Judaism, the Jews declared war on Germany, like before all this shit happened? Do you know that they were claiming 6 million Jews died, like in the early 1900s, before the Holocaust happened? In my opinion, the true Holocaust, by definition, happened to the Germans in Dresden when it was firebombed for, you know, multiple days on end. Know his own records, knowing it was a lie. D would say interesting, and think M assumes the whole country is Jewish. Yeah. No, I don't assume the whole country is Jewish. I don't know what you mean by that. One good thing he did, he was a crackhead. Who, the Austrian painter, who is the worst person, if not him. By the way, he did good, but I doubt you know it. Trash. He brought up Dresden. Oh, well. Again, like, I'm starting to see where your like level of you know, understanding is on all this stuff, and it, you know, it doesn't surprise me that you have these viewpoints. This is like, you know, indoctrinated type thinking right here. Judges and lawyers of the jury of judges. What? Oh, okay, yeah. The whole country is Jewish, huh? No, but I mean, it's easy for them to sway opinion, you know. They control a lot as far as academia, right? They have rewritten the textbooks, history books, suppressed a lot of information. Yeah, same for me to you. The problem is I can go a layer deeper than you are missing. I don't think so. I think it's actually quite the opposite. I don't know how much of your own research you've done, telling by your you know, talking points. And not only that, I'm surprised you don't know a lot of this stuff, given, you know, today's climate and how much a lot of this information is being shared. For you to still have these viewpoints on Uncle Addy, it's surprising. Just saying that he was a crackhead, and you know, I admitted he was imperfect and made some mistakes along the way, but you seem to just keep trying to trash him and claiming that I'm like, you know, in full support and belief of everything that they did. I know it as conspiracy trash that I know the reverse. Well, you know, not everything's conspiracy trash, and a lot of conspiracies have been proven true as of lately. So, do you disagree he gave himself Alzheimer's by his doctor giving him drugs? What do you mean, Alzheimer's? Do you agree he gave himself Alzheimer's by his doctors, like shaking and stuff? I mean, not purposely. You know, a lot of this stuff, there wasn't a lot of research into it. Not to mention, he was a war veteran. He served in World War I, and he sustained injuries. He was a, you know, what you would call Americans, a disabled American veteran. He was a, you know, he was a war veteran who had sustained injury. And, you know, a lot of those times, a lot of soldiers did methamphetamines. They did amphetamines to try to stay awake and to be able to fight the battles. And it wasn't just the Germans. He was doing cocaine, heroin, meth. Sorry, I mean, if that's what you want to call it. He wasn't over there smoking fucking heroin off of a spoon. I hardly doubt that. I don't think so, man. Yeah, I mean, the guy had been through a lot. I think he was just trying to protect his people from what happened in Ukraine with the Ukrainian famine, where over 10 million Ukrainians were systematically starved to death by the Bolsheviks. They teach us so much about World War II and how evil the painter was and how evil those people were, you know, who supported him. But, you know, I mean, the record reflects differently. You know, the nation was powerful, strong, revived, and, you know, the more you learn, the more you see how much has been untold, basically. There's a great documentary. It's called The Greatest Story Never Told. I highly recommend you check it out. There's another one called Hellstorm that goes deeper into Dresden. There's Europa, The Last Battle. If you have 11 hours to watch a fucking documentary, that's a good one. You know, highly recommend you learn the other side of the story. By the end of war, Nazis saw the downsides of benzos and stopped. He continued, well, you know, yes, Stalin very bad, indeed. You know, also not Jewish. I don't know. Again, you know, yeah, I mean, Stalin wasn't, but what about Trotsky and a lot of the Bolsheviks were Jewish, actually. Not Jewish, also hated Jews. Yeah, but controlled by the banking cartel, right? Which was Jewish. And Marx was a Jew, as far as I'm concerned, as far as my knowledge. If he didn't, because he was ethnically Jewish. Jews are an ethnic group. Judaism is just their ethnic religion. A Jew could have any sort of beliefs, right? Like Sabbatean Frankists, for example. He was not for your anti-Semitic. Oh, well, again, it's just Karl Marx and the Rosenberg Jurgen, where he had no Jewish education, embraced atheism. He continued to be identified as a Jew, and his Jewish ancestry influenced his thinking. Again, it's not the most important topic right now to be talking of, but, you know, here we are, Museum of Jewish People. You know, Karl Marx, on his mother's side, he was descendant of a Dutch dynasty of rabbis. Marx was 100% Jew, whose father, Herschel Halevi, was forced to convert. Like, bro, you're calling me an anti-Semite, hateful, for just acknowledging what I've learned, for noticing patterns that a lot of these people who have had, you know, destructive ideologies happen to be of this tribe, whether they're religious or ethnically. Something about that blood, you know what I mean? Rabbi Shmuel is, yeah. Anyway, again, not the most important thing. And the more you learn, the more you know, the more you see these patterns. It's like every, you know, I don't know. I don't even want to say it, but it just is what it is. Nope, hated capitalism and the banks. He was not very great. He hated Jew. No, not you. One hand, he was. Or you're saying he was. Okay. Writings contain hostile, stereotypical language regarding Jews and Judaism that have led many to characterize him as anti-Semitic, while others argue his rhetoric was a critique of capitalism, not a personal animus toward Jewish people. Marx, yeah, well, maybe it was just that, you know, his certain type of Jew, right? Nonetheless, he was a Jew. In his blood. Maybe he didn't like the real Jews, right? Like there's Jews in Israel today who oppose Zionism. Sure, they're not very well liked, and there's not many of them. Definitely can't say the majority, right? Is race real? If so, how? Yeah, I believe race is real. Just like there's different species of animals. You know what I mean? And what race are you? I would admit that a lot of us are mixed to a certain extent. I am mainly European, English, German, and my dad is Spanish, and, you know, of Spain. My grandma has a little bit of Native American. But I'd say I'm over 70% white European, according to my ancestry test. But if you know, my whole life I was just a white boy. I grew up in California amongst a lot of Hispanics, you know, brown pride claiming Hispanics who hated white people for the most part. Even some of my dad's side of the family, the Spanish family, they just have a deep sense of they have a deep inferiority complex where they think white people are, you know, have everything given to them for whatever reason, and they just have this jealousy and hatred towards white people simply for, you know, it's their own inferiority complex, in my opinion. Species of animals means they can't reproduce, but all humans can reproduce. What? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying there's, you know, like different types of tigers and jaguars and lions, but they're not all the same, right? White is an American term, not a European concept. Well, yeah, I guess, you know, European. If you want to call me European, I guess that's, you know, you can call me that. By calling yourself white proves race is not real, as English and German would never accept Spain or Native American as the same group. Yeah, I mean, I admit I am mixed to a certain extent, as most of us are. But that's, you know, American, I guess. I would, if I really had to, I'd just say I'm an American. I'm a proud nationalist American, you know. My ancestors fought for this country and, you know, settled here from different parts of Europe, whether it was Spain, Germany, England. And I'm proud of that. I think that's something worth preserving and worth fighting for. And, you know, the Jays have an agenda, it seems, to erase us and make us the minorities, as we already are on this planet. And I think it's white altruism that has led to, you know, a lot of these people taking advantage of us, and, you know, it's to our own detriment. All those types of tigers can't breed with other tigers. That's why they are different species. I don't think that's true. Are you familiar with Robert Seffer? I think there's like some tigers that can. White altruism, yeah. I didn't say ultraism. I said altruism, as in altruistic. Altruism is the unselfish concern for the well-being of others, characterized by actions that benefit someone else at a cost or risk to oneself, without expecting rewards. It is driven by empathy and a desire to help, ranging from small daily acts of kindness to major personal sacrifices. Yeah. I think that's the end that they have towards hijacking and indoctrinating liberals, right? Because everyone wants to virtue signal nowadays and believe that they're doing the right thing. And even I fell victim to that liberal ideology that's like, we're all one, like, why are there borders, right? You know, before I became aware of, you know, a lot of this stuff. Agreed, America's number one, no race, no religion. I don't know what you're saying there. I mean, we have been invaded and we have mixed to a large extent. The native population here, you know, the Native Americans were here, you know, majority more than the European settlers came. However, the European settlers came and made this country what it is. What race are we? You talking about the human? I don't know. I do think that I don't know. I should keep my own thoughts to myself sometimes on that one, because there are some people that just don't seem to be human. They lack any type of empathy, and it's hard for me to believe that we're of the same species, right? Native Americans are Americans, like United States. You know what I mean? And there were white people here before the settlers came, you know, in the Americas. You do not believe we don't have a race. Are you familiar with Robert Seffer? He's able to break it down a lot more than I am. Check him out if you haven't. This is his channel, Robert Seffer. Looked him up. Yeah, he's got some good stuff. Aryan Ancestry Unveiled. Check it out. All right, brother. Well, 2 a.m. here. Probably gonna get ready to crash out. You probably should as well, man. Especially if you got, you know, working 70 hours a week. I'm pretty exhausted. I work 40. Luckily, I got a 4-hour nap in today, so I'm a little more awake than usual. But look forward to having you in future streams. Hope you enjoyed being with us here tonight. Thank you for your input as well. Definitely looking forward to more conversations, jumping ideas back and forth. Took a picture of your email. I'll reach out to you and we can schedule something in the future. You know, call it a debate, whatever you want. We can go into it. Just sharing ideas, thoughts, and knowledge, right? And then confirming it. You know, don't believe everything you hear, right? A real podcast would be 2 people who disagree. Absolutely. Or have different ideas. That's why, you know, I appreciate my friend Ian, the guy that I did the Black Sun podcast with, because I'd be getting educated and we'd be, you know, going further into like researching this stuff and confirming a lot of this stuff as I was first learning about it. So that's always fun. You and Ian agree, not on everything, that's for sure. He seems to have a little more of an accelerationist point of view than I do. Type of thinking, I should say. I try to be white-pilled, to be honest. Like I said, I usually don't get too deep into history. I'm more on the spirituality side of things, and you know, I really want what's best for our country. And you know, I try to remain hopeful and optimistic that we can turn this ship around. but I'm also aware that it's been sinking for quite some time, and can only pray that that God will send us a lifeboat and we can utilize that. Yeah, I don't get the spiritual versus historical part of for historical topics. Well, I think sometimes it's necessary, but I guess we'll touch on that another day. Maybe that's what's been missing, right? Agreed, needs to be improvement. White is right is repeating a failed attempt. I don't think so. I think it only, I don't know. I think the war is still going on. I think that battle was lost, but, we'll see what happens. The origins of race politics, right? It probably leads back to a Jew. But anyway, we'll get back to that another day. Until next time, thank you, Dave Smith. Hope you have a blessed weekend with your family. Don't know if you celebrate Easter, but happy Easter to you and yours. And may God bless you. Till next time, I'm out. Thanks for being with us. And I will reach out to you on the email. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, you take care now. Thank you, everybody, for checking out the stream. Please do like, follow, comment, share your thoughts and opinions. Help us grow the channel. And we'll talk to you soon.